Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Heroes CCL. We're in week number 7, day number 1, and we've got amazing Heroes of the Storm matches for you all. But before we do that, let's introduce our wonderful panel of casters and hosts. As you know, I'm Bahamut, but joining me today is Grubby and McIntyre. Grubby, how are you feeling today? Are you ready for all this Heroes CCL action?
Yeah, I'm so ready for today's matches. It's the final day of the final 2 days of the regulation season, and we'll get to see how all the standings shake out. I also want to give a special shout out to the real Ridiculous, who's watching with his girlfriend, who just started playing Heroes of the Storm, and they look forward to watching the CCL every weekend, probably as much as we enjoy casting and seeing all the amazing games coming up.
We welcome you all to the Nexus and enjoy your stay here. As McIntyre, there's been some changes in the Nexus as of late, hasn't there?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this weekend as well. Obviously, the last regular season games we're going to see of this season, but also a patch just hit 3 days ago. Lots of things changed, bug fixes, bringing new characters back into the game that we haven't seen in the previous weeks. So I think for me, I'm really excited to see that. And Blaze got buffed. I love Blaze. Will we see Blaze today? What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely. We have to see it, right, Grubby? We have to.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Blaze is he's cracked right now. He's legit. He's a strong tank. He's an offlaner. I think he's going to be very highly prioritized. And but I do think that the teams that have been playing off meta so far are the ones that are able to reap the greatest benefits from shifts in the meta like this. Because guess what? Teams like WildHearth, they have been playing Blaze. Many other teams haven't. Now he's buffed. They're going to take that experience, maybe with a small little bonus point there.
On the note of WildHearth, I've been seeing Goon feverishly playing Imperius throughout the past week, and we'll see if maybe Imperius strikes his way into today's matches. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prizing, as that's changed since last weekend. As always, we like to break this down for you. That 60% of the prize pool will be going to the players. You can see how that 60% is broken down from first place to 8th on the bottom left. Over on the top right, we do like to be transparent with you all to make sure that you know where that other 40% goes, and it's to basically cover production costs, to be able to have amazing graphics like this, as well as to put on the show that you see every weekend. So thank you, everyone at home, for supporting Heroes CCL. We have hit $12,284.69 nice cents. It's amazing the support that we see from the community, Grubby, right?
Yeah, it's really incredible. It gets these players to be motivated to practice for all these matches. It has kept the level of play increasing from the start of the season until now, and we thank you all very much for it.
We really do appreciate that support. And if you'd like to check out the custom Matcherino page or donate towards that prize pool, you can do !prize pool in chat to get you a link over there. And it's just been, as I keep saying, it's just awesome to see. Thank you all so much for supporting CCL. I can't thank you enough. It excites me to see that price will go up and up, and I'm sure, as Grubby was saying, it encourages those players to really try and, well, take a higher standing so they can steal some money away from the others. Speaking of standings, Grubby, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings, as things haven't shifted just yet, but do you think there's any possibilities from this weekend that might kind of upset outside of Simplicity, who's already locked in at number 1?
Well, I think... Yeah, I think 30K STORM Esports is going to be a very important match, because the first match that we have here, the winner, is going to take guaranteed top 3. There are still possibilities for the other teams like Chili Mountain and Oxygen to make it, but the winner of STORM 30K can guarantee it.
It's a little bit of a shakeup here, McIntyre, or possibility it's a shakeup. I want to get your thoughts as we look at this as well. Do you have any expectations for these standings on your end?
After last week with the Oxygen series, right, Storm definitely, will they box him out in basketball, able to get the rebound here against 30K and kind of solidify that number 2 spot, right? I think that's going to be a really important match, this next one that we are about to see. Outside of that, though, I don't really know how much more movement can happen. The Simplicity games will be important, right? Definitely want to maintain number 1. But even so, I think if they lose, they still probably do hold that spot. So definitely highlight this next series, 30K versus STORM Esports. I think that's where all the action will happen here this weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great action for this weekend. Before we cover that, we do want to thank our sponsor, PSD Underwear. You can find the best skins for your IRL underwear game at PSD and get 20% off your order with our own special promo code WISDOM. That's WISDOM. You can type !PSD in chat to get you over to the curated list of Wisdom underwear, and there's a few of those Bob Ross underwears left. And if you want to grow yourself a nice luscious lock of hair, just a singular lock of hair, you're able to do that with that pair of underwear. We'll see if it actually works out for you in the same realm as me, because I had wonderful, just huge afro. I had to shave it for CCL. It's a little too hot today for that one, but right now we are going to thank PSD. Thank you so much for being our sponsor, and as a reminder, !PSD in chat to get you over to that webpage. One more exclamation point command for you all in chat as well is !awards. We are doing an awards show for season 2 of CCL. Get your votes in right now, and !awards will get you over there in Twitch chat. But now, Grubby, McIntyre, let's go ahead and take a look at the matches for today. This is the exciting thing. We've been talking about this, Grubby. 30K versus STORM Esports, Diamond Hands versus Oxygen Esports. Today is going to be awesome.
Yeah, dude, these players got to be pumped. I mean, they're at a 4-2 score, which means they're going against another team that has roughly performed in the same way. Both of these teams are awesome. Storm actually has won, I believe, all of their matches where they played with their main lineup. And then they are in a 4-2 score at this time. 30K came back they started off well, then took a double loss in a row, and then they had that exhilarating 3-2 victory that ended with that Falstad game against Vikings on Cursed Hollow last weekend. They've broken the loss streak, but now faces them perhaps one of their toughest challenges yet in Storm. And then the second match, two middle-of-the-pack teams that are able to perhaps join that coveted top 3, which guarantees you a top 4 placement in the tournament.
And that top 4 is very imperative. Top 3 is even better. Top 4, you might have to fight off one enemy team in the final bracket phase. And as you mentioned, Grubby, there was that reverse sweep from 30K into WildHeart. We actually did a nice little interview with Hazuabs with Kyle Ferguson, and we put that over on the HeroesHearth YouTube page. I highly recommend you check that out, because Hazuabs goes into wonderful depth about the nuance of Falstad into these Vikings as well on Cursed Hollow. So if you're ever sitting there like, how do I beat Vikings on Cursed Hollow? We got a video for you over on the HeroesHearth page. But now, we've talked about Hazuabs here, McIntyre. Who else on the 30K roster is popping out for you?
Yeah, I think every week it seems like Dino is just getting better and better at that range roll. I know last week he seemed, things like Chromie, right? The Cassia, right? I think these are picks that are taking 30K to the top, and something they want to continue to do. I feel like every time I see Dino on his comfort, they seem to succeed, right, with their drafts. I hope that they do that and continue to do that here today. But if we look at the side of Storm, very similar strategy, actually. Kepi on that ranged assassin, right? And something that happened in the patch was actually the Raynor rework. Ace in the hole is 10% now to the passive instead of 25 to the Q. I think this is a big change as well. It unlocks that damage that Raynor had. Kepi was very known for it, right? Protecting him on that Raynor, as well as, synergy with that Q build. Now, if you hit 2 targets with it, once you're at 16, paint it red, you can basically just reset your Qs over and over. So these are things I think we'll see today. Lauber as well, another Murden player, right? One of the few. Murden rework happened. He's much stronger early game, scales a lot better as well. So yeah, I'd say looking out for Kepi on that ranged assassin, as well as Lauber. Even main tank Blaze could be a possibility for him today after those reworks happened.
It's a lot of innovation from this new patch that came out, and we'll see how things change up here. We can actually find out where we're going to for map number 1, and we can see where that innovation will come through, as we have 30K taking us to Sky Temple. But if anyone's sitting at home wondering, wait a minute, how do we get to Sky Temple? Members of STORM Esports, they won the coin flip, opting for first pick priority. They banned out Dragonshire, as they have all season long. 30K, big surprise, banned out Alterac Pass, Grubby, as both of these teams have banned out both of these maps. They have not played on these maps once this season. They hate Dragonshire and they hate Alterac Pass. What is it? Like, Grubby, they're not bad maps. Why ban them out so consistently? Is it like we are weak here and they're just kind of telegraphing it to the enemy teams?
It could be a few things, Bahamut. I'll keep it short. Either
Sure.
it could be they don't have enough practice on it. 30K would like to just limit their practice to 8 out of 9 maps, and by consistently banning one, you lessen your workload. Alterac being the newest. The second one, both Alterac and before Volskaya are quite slow maps. And they are Europeans, so they want to have quicker matches so that it doesn't go too late. I don't know.
Hey, that's a great explanation. As we're getting into this, though, I want to let everyone know at home that there were some heroic bans and unbanning of talents and such. So let me get you all updated on this, because Joanna's Falling Sword, it was banned out because of some bugs on damage. That is fixed. Joanna is available to use Falling Sword. Serenity at level 20 for Malfurion, that was fixed as well. It was double procking on some of the healing, as well as Mixing Fire has the proper cooldown reduction now. It's 14 seconds rather than 6 seconds, and this is why we're going to see a priority into Lucio. The one last thing to make a note of, Blizzard, not just CCL, Blizzard has turned off Stukov as he has too many issues currently with some combination of talents as well as shift queuing reactive ballista spores. So we thank Blizzard for taking the priority to shut off Stukov so they can take the time to fix him. So we won't see Stukov this weekend, but we will see priority into Lucio, priority into Malfurion maybe, and maybe, just maybe, no, actually we won't see Gianna because Shield Glare's broken. But either way, McIntyre, what do you think of the draft so far?
Yeah, I mean, so far, pretty standard. I will say that Karazim in the 1-2 is unique, right? Yasuo picking it up. Possibly just because the Lucio's picked, you can hide your tanks, you can hide your offlanes this way. Just responding with his support. Also, pretty good at punching down buildings, right? On a map like this, getting out, punching buildings, and then getting back in is a good strategy, right? We also see those Storm. Lauber is going to be picking up that Muradin. The battle momentum built in now. It seems like his Q scales a little bit better. I'm interested to see which talents he goes as well. If he just stays to the standard jump block at 1.
He does like that.
Or if he, techs a little bit more, right? And now that you get that quest from level 1 on, does he go more battle build or not? We'll see, right? Sylvanas, though, a response band from 30K. Really good targeting of... Ooh, there is no IB Tings. This is going to be CPX actually playing for Storm. So I was going to say a good target for IB Tings, but also just a good target for this map, right? Sylvanas so good at taking down buildings and structures away from the objective, and the Tychus response from Storm.
They want to choke, obviously. Grubby, please.
Lauber in particular was very excited about Muradin's change because he didn't like having to play like a non-tank, not playing for out of vision, not playing from out of the bush, and having to actually do like up to 25 meaningless storm bolts trying to become the Muradin he's supposed to be. Muradin now gets piercing bolt no matter what at level 10. Auto completes.
I do really like that I guess new talent style. Maybe there's a better way to put it, but like Stitches having hook at level 13.
Auto quest completion.
Like I like there's it exists in other MOBAs, and I actually really like that factor for other MOBAs. Like League of Legends, Kayle has that where her damage or her attack type changes as she scales, which I think is really cool for some of these players as well. On the note of Lauber, actually, Grubby, we are going to be we had a tweet from him saying that IB Tings has their internet down, so CPX is standing in due to a connectivity issue from IB Tings. But here we have a Medivh Greymane. Grubby, let me get your big brain on this one.
Well, not big brain, just excited like a monkey. It's like, it's CPX. Because that was his victory last weekend as well, right? Like, he actually carried on that game. Had a bit of a rougher on some others, but Medivh, he actually carried. And I think that's a great pickup for him, putting him on something that he looks very comfortable with. It also provides some counter boss taking potential against Holy Ground with Leyline Seal.
All right, McIntyre, as always, let's get your breakdown before we get to Sky Temple. Who do you think's got the stronger draft, or who wins?
This is actually a crazy game number 1 Sky Temple draft for both sides. I think both of these comps are very strong at taking towers, uncontested. They're very good at fighting over Shrine. They're very good at fighting for boss. I'm actually finding a hard time, showing weakness from either side, right? I will say that there is a highlight for me is that Falstad pick always on Sky Temple. So strong, Gust, so good at the boss, keeping your team safe, right? But meanwhile, Storm has CPX on Medivh, right? Leyline, portals out, there's ways to escape, there's a lot of mobility there, as well as like Peppy on the Greymane, right? He continues to find success on that, being protected by the Medivh, being protected by the Lucio. now able to take that 20 talent on Lucio, right? That's a big deal. That was something we even said last week. We're not seeing him as much because that talent can't be picked. This is going to be the first game we get to see that talent picked back again. And how strong is Lucio? Will Storm make it to level 20? These are the questions I think I asked. I'm going to go for Storm's side just because I want to see Lauber on this new Muradin. Muradin's probably like top 3 character for me. One of the most played for sure. And, you know, his new changes, again, allow him to be more scrappy, right? Be more in their face. He's not just trying to land 25 Storm Bolts before he comes online. He just starts the game kind of online and then at 10 hits that power spike. So we'll see. Giving it to Storm, though, here, game number 1.
Alrighty, McIntyre, thank you as always for your breakdown analysis and your knowledge of Heroes of the Storm. We'll see you after this map number 1, Sky Temples. We've got 30k in the blue on the left, Tyrael played by X-Ray, Hazuabs on the Falstead, Yasu on the Karazim, Dino playing Tracer, and Liam on the Diva. Over in the red, we've got the members of Storm Esports, BBJ on the Lucio, Kepi playing the Greymane, CPX on Medivh, Lauber playing Muradin, and Dekwaza on the Hogger. I actually lean into 30k on this one, Grubby. I feel like even though this is just single healer Karazim, I feel like there's a lot of really good tools and there's a lot of synergy with these heroes that these players have picked up. So I'm going to lean into a 30k win, but what are your expectations for the map? Maybe if I can coax a prediction out of you?
Yeah, I'm with you there, Baha. I think 30k has drafted very smart for the map. They're also drafting, and I think this is cool to point out, they're drafting really intelligently against Lucio. Lucio gets high 5. 20-second cooldown to cleanse allies and himself simultaneously, which is reduced to 14 seconds at level 20. By not drafting almost any CC, that cleanse is not as big of an issue. Of course, you wouldn't try to run a variant taunt blow-up comp that relies on CC when you're already against a Lucio. So instead, you're also against that speed movement boost of Lucio. Instead, you get this whole hyper-mobile team, what 30k has. Everyone is fast. Yeah. Diva with the boost, Tyrael with the boost, Falstad can power roll, Tracer, Blinks, Karazim, Dash. You've got a mobility team that doesn't lose out to Lucio or Medivh's mobility. That's a clever draft by 30k, and they've got great boss control with Sanct, Holy Ground, and Gust.
It's exciting, Grubby. Like I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the talents, and I'm like, I want to just get to level 10. I want to see what Lauber's able to do with this, the changes onto Muradin, and it is going to be that dwarf block at level 1 still. This is the style Lauber likes to play. I need to practice this my own because I'm still a sucker for that Gathering Storm at level 1. The dings, Grubby. Every single time you auto, you get the dings, and it's so rewarding.
And I think that makes sense for Storm League as well. There's a lot of, like, let's say, brawls that do not immediately serve a purpose. Those are so limited in CCL. People don't brawl as much, so it's hard to get that many auto attacks or kills, for that matter, to give value to the quest. But I should also make a quick note for the viewers that if you look at the talent overview, there's still that 0 at the Stormbolt icon next to Muradin. This is a legacy, an artifact that is no longer active. He doesn't get stacks from bolts anymore, only when he takes the talent, which he did not, so you can safely ignore that little icon there.
I think it'll probably auto-complete at level 10, which is nice, at least. So you at least know, you're like, if I don't look at the top of the screen, I at least can look at the bottom and know if it's level 10 or this. Anyway, the Lauber gets in with the pulse bomb from the Tracer, as this is the motif of Sky Temple, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of pressure through top lane initially, because if you get that top lane temple, it's going to prioritize the top lane structures, which could yield you a fort through the first objective phase. Without any sort of pre-push, pre-pressure onto that front gate and top, or even into mid, you don't get much value beyond just that front gate, maybe a little bit of damage onto the well or the structure itself. So this is the reason we're seeing the priority so heavily through top lane. It is also the standard to have your global, like the Falstad, in the bottom to just be able to fly up, and also split push offer up a little XP denial for the friendly team, as Lauber controls top lane here, Dino and X-Ray in the mid lane. So I think Lauber might have a little bit of an advantage structurally for the side of Storm Esports through this top lane.
Yeah, exactly. There was a nice little push for Storm there. And I'm so glad you're pointing that out about that bruiser push, because we saw a willful ignoring by both teams of mid lane and mid lane XP. And there's no 3-1-1 spread. It was so important that at level 5, both teams are choosing to neglect mid lane pressure. That's how important that top bruiser empowerment and defense is.
the end of our objective phase, we are going to be seeing the top left fort on the side of 30k down to about 20 HP, and the same can be said about STORM Esports' mid lane fort as well, as we do have a little bit of a portal out from CPX. There has been a few brawls here and there, Grubby, but it's kind of surprising that we're just seeing a lot of map play specifically. There's not a ton of team fighting, and I wonder, is it because we're pre-level 10? Is it just that first objective, the spread of the map? I want to get maybe, what are your thoughts on how the map's being played so far?
Right, yeah. It's a little bit of the Sky Temple effect. The macro is so punitive and important that you must have temple pressure, and you must also get a person in bot lane. If you don't, then bot lane can get pushed in to prep for the second temple phase. So it's the map for one. For two, 30k relies on their heroics to really make a kill stick. And three, there's basically double support on both sides. You've got Karazim Tyrael with shields and movement speed and heals and saves. And then you've got Storm with Lucio and Medivh. So in theory, both teams have a no, I don't want to fight buttons. And that's why you don't see a lot of kills yet. But at level 10, anyone missteps, anyone gets ganked, things can get out of control real fast. Because the pushing power, in particular of 30k, if they ever get a lead, is Sylvana's life.
I would absolutely agree. The siege potential through 30k is massive with even just Karazim. He's Iron Fist Karazim, which does deal a lot of damage. Falstead and Tracer have great sustained damage, and then you throw a D.Va in there as well. Tyrael, I mean, he just does Tyrael things. It's not the most damage in the world, but I agree with you. Yeah, if one good team fight for 30k, there's a lot of insane pressure. Kind of the same for Storm, but only, I mean, you can maybe say like a Murden. Oh, not even Murden. It's you don't even have the Storm buff quest. So it's literally it's
Greymane.
Not. It's mostly Greymane. Yeah. So I see what you mean. Yeah. It's extremely punishing if Storm loses a big engagement. And here's the great thing, Grubby. Single temple phase in the bottom of the map. Will 30k play into that, or is this going to be just split off into the top lane, trade the objective for fort through top?
Yeah, here's where we start to see that advantage in options taking. You asked the perfect question, because 30k doesn't need the temple. It's Storm that needs the temple. So they are coming here to defend as 5 because they're already being pressured. Their bruiser camp is losing. 30k was making it lose. And now Falstad is on the shrine as well, on the temple. Storm needs temples to make damage stick. Their only other tool is Greymane, or winning a team fight. But 30k is so good at not taking a fight while applying pressure in different lanes. 30k has a massive macro advantage with this draft, and they're showing it. But Lauer did a good job. He came here to bully Falstad off a bit and to stop the temple shots for a bit. Storm wants a 5-on-5. They're a little bit hurt though going into this. As much as they need it and it's 5-on-5, they're going to be up against D.Va Mech Explosion soon, and they're a little bit hurt still.
There's a little chunk on Dekepi and Lauber as the Stormbolt will not connect. Lauber looking to maybe just get a little auto attack reduction with that slam onto the ground as Yasu and Dino dump damage into Lauber. D.Va, Liam, is able to control the point. Is there going to be a leyline seal? I thought I saw Medivh stepping up, but CPX doesn't step too far forward. And actually, the last few shots of the temple and bottom lane not only secure bottom lane fort, but actually get the mid lane fort as well. A double fort phase for the side of 30k, who move over to the siege camp in bottom left, but also Falstad with the quick rotation atop. Won't be able to save the fort, but still, catching the experience is big. And I have to really say, Hazuab's macro knowledge is beautiful in this game. He's where he needs to be as a global hero.
Exactly, with minimap awareness, with gank awareness. Of course, that portal was a little sus, as Lauber takes a lot of damage from Yasu and Dino, and Liam there to secure the camp as well. But yes, absolutely, Falstad, Hasuop's Falstad is applying so much defense and pressure. He was the one that was able to stand on the temple, that was able to pressure away Murden, even though Murden is one tanky boy with that level 1, what's it called, the frequent flyer talent.
Oh, excuse me.
Frequent flyer with secret weapon that allows him to, in a short bursty fight, win against Murder. Not the re-engage, but it was enough for 30k to pick up so many temple shots.
Oh, you add in the sustained wins at level 13, Hazuop's chunks into anyone with a significant health pool. I've actually had the pleasure of playing against a Deathwing in Storm League, and you push the one key, you throw out your hammering, and you just right-click on that Deathwing and watch the health pool shred. It's very rewarding as a Falstad player. Probably sucks as the Deathwing player. But look at this massive push from 30k in top lane. The next temple is top and bottom. So if 30k actually gets the top lane temple, it will prioritize that top lane keep front gate. So getting this little bit of pre-pressure is huge for 30k if they can control this top temple. And I'm watching them spread around the map. I'm trying to find a good time to get into comms, because sometimes we get into comms and teams are just like, give the objective phases, whatever. But Grubby, do you think is now a good time maybe for some comms, or should we wait a little bit?
I think when it looks like there might be a boss fight, that's going to be the most interesting. At the moment, I feel like we might see the least, not to be a Debbie Downer or a Daryl Downer or anything, this might be the least team fighty game we're going to see in this best of 5.
It's 14-14, 0-0 in kills. The experience is equal, and Falstad is going to use Gust and Flight. 60 seconds on Gust, and I believe 75 seconds on Flight. And Medivh finishes out his baseline quest, so CPX, time to feed. Time to just portal into the enemy team's face.
He did a good job not doing that, and he played well with Medivh last weekend as well. He had some good lane engages. The problem this game, this is one of those games where in Storm League, people are like, can we fight already? Can we just group up and fight? Actually, no, you can't, because the map is always pushed against you. But this is really what Storm needs, and they're starting to do that. They're starting to muscle in moves that would normally be considered high risk. But you know what's even more high risk? Not doing anything, because they will lose automatically. Yet here is X-Ray with Holy Ground to steal the very fruit of the labor of Storm.
Pulse Bomb did connect onto Lucio, found a little splash damage onto CPX. No kill. Tracer, Dino, maybe looking to set something up. They do have, on the side of 30k, this camp coming through top lane, offering up some spell armor, and I think Lobber and crew know this. They're going to put some pressure onto X-Ray, who was trying to step into Lobber's face, and it seems like 30k are just sharking around for a fight, but X-Ray doesn't get punished, almost gets punished. Eva comes in with a massive boost. There's the mech explosion. Doesn't have the increased speed on set explosion. Little block totem from Karazim as well. Liam able to get back into their mech. The sustained fight happens, but this sustained fight is actually very beneficial for 30k. If we look in the bottom lane on the minimap, there's catapults coming through that lane. The bottom lane was also opened up by the bottom temple phase, so these catapults threaten onto an open keep that has already taken a little bit of damage. This is a big deal as Falstad flies into bottom, grabbing the camp to amplify bottom lane siege. This is what I was talking about. Hazu Obs with his macro knowledge and his play on this Falstad is on point. And oh my god, I'm looking at the minimap. The bottom lane keep just gets shredded by these catapults. What are they dealing?
A lot.
Wow, they're not that much. 380 into structures is very early for a catapult. 190 standard.
This is a very telegraphed boss, and yet there was nothing that Storm could do about it. This is pretty much, it could be game. There's no keep. They're gonna probably clean up and kill Muradin, unless this ley line can be a powerful counter-engage. Dequaza and team are trying to do something, but CPX is being called out. Holy ground, CPX goes down. The first sanctification of the game, they got 1 kill. The boss is already marching on the core. There's a big defensive matrix. They're not gonna allow Storm to get away from this. They've got Karazim with movement speed. A huge counterattack by Kepi. Yazu does go down. Nice kill confirmed by BBJ.
Lobber gets picked off in this. BBJ goes down to Dino, who also chases in with Falstad and gets the kill onto Hogger. It's a 1 for 4, maybe even a pentakill. Kepi able to use the Dark Flighter, the roll to disengage, but I think, Grubby, you called it absolutely perfect. This boss, the single kill that turned this, or just the fight in bottom lane, turned everything around for 30k, and that was the go button. That was the go button for 30k. They take game number 1 in a controlled fashion, and I think control is the name of game number 1, Grubby. It was very well controlled from both sides, but the gas pedal was hit at the right moment from 30k, and they played the last and pretty much only team fight perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was very well played, and had it not been as well played, we may say that the prediction that we made at the start was off or anything like that. But I honestly believe that at the level that we have now achieved in CCL, this draft is won 20 out of 20 times. 20 out of 20, which is what? 20 out of 20 times. If you run this in the simulator, 30k wins against Storm here. There's almost nothing Storm can do against a hypermobile draft like this that is better at controlling the map, that is better at disengaging, that has more push power. They got all the options, all the liberty at making good decisions, and Storm never really is able to make any good decisions at all unless they land an incredibly creative, unexpected kill on someone who was really just making an unforced error.
We got McIntyre back on the line. I want to get your thoughts on this game. Is it won 20 out of 10 times for 30K, or is this something that was foreseen from the side of 30K? Did they know that they were going to win this with the draft?
Yeah, this was a bit of a draft diff, I think, at the end of the day. Sky Temple, this is a Sky Temple game, if I've ever seen one. Scores 4-1 in kills. All those takedowns happened at the very end when the game ended over a boss fight. After the shrines had been captured over and over from the side of 30K, we saw, and I highlighted the Murden just because I was excited about it, but I kind of got to see what Murden can't do, and that's do anything outside of his Stormbolt window. And 30K kind of abused this, right? They pressured in the side lane when that false had the global. Once Karazim hits 16, you can cleanse that. There's just not a lot of threat there, right? Every time Storm looked for something, they would just walk away, 30K would. And while that was happening, Falstad would pressure the side lanes. You even said there, Grubby, they were trying to make a play happen instead of just sitting on their hands and waiting until they lose. They go to engage on the hard camp. They do the hard camp, and then Tyrael throws a sword down and steals it, and is like, we appreciate that. Falstad's still pushing in the bottom lane, by the way. You might want to check that out. And over and over again, no matter what Storm tried to do on the map, because of that global pressure that they had, it was just too much, right? And slowly but surely, the pieces from 30K's side moved closer and closer to the core of Storm. Something had to happen. A boss was the decision, but all of the boss pressure that they had from the draft that they had just allowed them to not only clean up all of Storm, but the boss itself, leading to a game number 1 victory here for the side of 30K. Well played.
Very well played from 30K on Sky Temple, and I'm sitting here, so I'm still able to look at the draft a little bit, and the match results, and I'm looking, I'm like, and Grubby, and I also want to get Max's opinion on this as well. Do you think if maybe the Medivh was a Dahaka, maybe would that have matched the Falstad a little bit better, or is it still like, you still need way more than just a Dahaka to kind of match that?
There was actually a tech talent decision that we don't see much, but it could have been good here, and I think I would have loved to see the Polybomb come out of Medivh. They needed some sort of point and click, right? They had the Tracer, they had the D.Va, the Tyrael, all Karazim, Falstad. Actually, all of these characters pretty much have a button that turbos them away, and Polybomb can kind of stop that window from happening, possibly followed up by a Stormbolt, and lead to a pit, right, somewhere on the map. Without it, the Stormbolt is the only thing pressuring. Landing a Stormbolt on any of those characters on the side of 30K is very hard. You could probably hit the D.Va, but what comes of that, right? A lot of the time she'll just kick out mech, and that's that. So I like that. I think this was a really hard game, right? There's just no windows to really find kills.
I like that. It makes sense. It does what Brightwing normally does against Tracer, right? The most reliable lockdown. Of course, you only have the window of 10 to 15 to make use of it until Cleansing Touch comes into play when Karazim isn't the target. But then again, that's pretty much the window where the game was decided anyway. So maybe that 10-15 would have been enough. I like that. If it hadn't been Medivh, maybe Zeratul could have done a little bit to slow this down. Perhaps not amazing into Karazim, Tyrael, Tracer, but decent into Falstad to kind of make Hazu push a little bit less hard. I don't know. You know more about Zeratul than I do.
We can continue this discussion on our hero picks. Sure. I want to figure out where we're going to for our next map, and we can continue to talk about these global factors because we are going to another large map, McIntyre, where 30K has chosen to take us to Cursed Hollow as STORM Esports have opted for first pick priority as the losing team.
Yeah, I think Cursed is. I mean, I'd be surprised if 30K didn't just draft the exact same comp that they just played, actually. On a map like this, again, they have that Falstad pressure, they have that 4-man strength, right, where they can show up and just take a camp. If their camps are contested, they can take, they can steal those, right? They're never really under a threat. I think the adjustment here is going to be from the side of Storm, right? How do they change their layers of threat for Cursed Hollow to be able to do a boss, but also have maybe some side split pressure from the Dahaka pick, right? Or, maybe instead they go really strong on the pushing, try to grab the Anub or the Sylvanas before it's banned out. I think there's different ways that Storm can approach this. I think going all in on the team fight, as we saw in that last game, is just not going to work against how 30K is playing right now. They're really playing the map. They're really playing the objective. I think we're seeing like a strength of the EU meta, right? Where they take fights when it's good for them, right? They're not taking fights just because they're taking them when they look good. And we saw in the last game, just not taking a fight until they just won the game, right? And Curse Hall is a map you can definitely activate on a strategy similar to that. And I see both teams adjusting to that and hopefully a closer game here, right? A little more action, but again, it's so hard on Curse Hollow.
We are going to get into that Cursed Hollow draft, and thank you for all being very patient with us. There was right as we were about to get into the game, there was a BBJ. Wait, it was like literally like, it was like 3, 2, and right before 1 went, BBJ went, wait, IBTings has internet back. So you'll see CPX is going to be swapped out for IBTings. We will have that main roster on the side of Storm and the main roster of 30K.
Wow.
So let's see, will IBTings be able to
go.
just turn things around and kick off this series, or will 30K continue to dominate here on Cursed Hollow, Grubby?
I mean, this, I think CPX plays a great Medivh, and on other heroes, he's still better than almost anyone in Heroes of the Storm, right? Except the very top pros. No knock against him, but IBTings probably just a little bit more solid, and I think it is an empowerment of the draft here for Storm. His internet came back. Maybe it's game time now for Storm. Sky Temple, though, it was very well played by 30K. No idea if anything could have gone differently there with a different pick, but we are now ready for game 2. It's Cursed Hollow. Falstad is banned. They don't want to have to deal with that again. Jesus Val.
Interesting to me that the members of Storm have the first pick priority and are going to ban out this Lucio. I wonder, I guess they have some other healer in mind that they want to prioritize. And it's
or no heal at all.
It's a Tychus off the bat.
No heal game called by Mac. Got it.
maybe Abasola heal. Busting out some old pocket strats. No, I think the Tychus first pick from Storm is pretty on brand for them, right? And we see it not banned from the side of 30K. The Sylvanas, I think, is the other pick that they tend to lean into. An incredible opener from 30K though. Dahaka, Liam played great Dahaka last week. And again, Dino on that Cassia, right? Just protecting him. He's able to step up, be very confident in his play. He's already a confident player, so giving him a character like that to step into the Tychus and make those challenges, I think is really beneficial for 30K. It allows Hasu to play something like a Junkrat, right? And just work around the map and wave clear. So it'll be interesting to see where the draft continues to go, though. Storm, possibly.
Did you guys see who's missing?
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
That's Lobber made a note of that as well. But sorry, Mac, please continue.
No worries. Again, it'll be interesting to see how Storm responds, though, right? Because the Dahaka Global is picked up, and what characters do you go? Do you take a standard offlaner like a Hogger, or do you get a little more creative with that offlane pick? Go into the Blaze or go into something like a Thrall, sacrifice the fact that the offlane split pressure will exist and play for the team fight, for the bosses. I was saying, definitely want to have something that pressures the side lane, but there is a world, especially on Curse Hollow, if you're maintaining all the bosses, maintaining all the shrines, even if you're getting a little split pressure, you can still kind of get ahead and win, right? So but I think the draft should hopefully start back again here soon. And we'll see how Storm responds from 30K's first 2 picks there on that Dahaka and Cassia.
Yeah, there was also, sorry, I was looking back at the feed or the live stream because I was curious. I was like, it was the Tychus, it was a Karazim and a Hogger as well for the side of Storm Esports. Okay. I'm also just peeking over at our little admin, the lobby chat, and it seems like they might just get CPX back into this and just kick the map off. We'll have to, I think that's going to be the case actually here. So it is going to be the same draft as well. Please.
It's great that he's still on standby here for these internet issues. They're going to try it with this draft and not make use of their full timeout pool, hoping that IBTings comes back or anything, because it's just too risky. Yeah. CPX is ready to go. That's why we've got the subs, and that's why it's set up this way. So that's great. They're going to keep the same draft despite having a different player now. That means that they will be following up with the Karazim and Hogger. And while Hogger is great defensively, he's great at camps, he's great at controlling fights, he doesn't apply the same pressure that some offlaners can. He doesn't push walls down like a Falstad or even a Dahaka, to be honest.
Or an Imperius, right? Imperius is like super OP right now, right, boys?
Well, his W build is buffed. He's a wave clear monster.
He can mark those towers. I'm sure that's a patch note that they didn't add now, right?
Yes.
I'm surprised that it doesn't actually work out that way with the way Stukov has gone. Imagine burn the Impure at level 20, like the trait just keeps up. You do like 1000 damage auto attacks.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know
you can blink to the buildings? That would be pretty cool, actually.
I had an ARAM game earlier today where I had 71 stacks on my Vala Q build, and I was dealing just sub it was like just about sub 900 damage per Q. So Q, Vault, Q, Strafe, dead, easy. And I went for Death Siphon because it's ARAM and it's fun. I actually won the game. I found out it's absolute insanity, like the scaling in ARAM on that Q build, and it was buffed as well, which is crazy to me. But anyways, we don't have a Vala in this. We're in our actual Curse Hollow game, and the map
that ban a lot.
The map has continued here. McIntyre, I want to get your thoughts on what's unfolding right now in Curse Hollow as we're back into where we just were before the little DC happened.
So yeah, I was gonna mention, if CPX is on the Medivh, which they showed last game. The Murden Medivh, not so sick, right? But Diablo Medivh, the ham and cheese, like that is forever and always going to be a strong engage tool, right? It stops the things like the Tracer, the problem that Storm had. So 30k just banning it out, completely getting it out of the game, I think is a great first step for them to win this draft. Storm, though, getting rid of the Mei. So, the blind from the Snowball, really good with the Cassia. Also just defensive, stops a lot of the engage that... Storm might want to do. I think we'll see a Tyrael here from 30k.
I'd like that, actually.
Again, their draft, very similar to their last game.
Oh.
We're going to see some, as if the year
cow.
is 2016, the Uther ETC combo. What we see a D-Shield mosh pit, stage dive. I'm all about the stage dive on ETC.
Is there a possibility, Grubby, for like a Genji maybe for a 30k, or do you feel like they need something else? Because I feel like a Divine Shield, Dragon Blade Genji kind of works into the draft of STORM Esports.
Absolutely. There's not a lot of CC yet. Kind of depends on the final two picks. It's going to be a Garrosh and a Hanzo. I think Genji into Garrosh is a little bit less attractive, but D-Shield overrides all the rules. It's definitely possible. Hasuops would then take the Cassia, and Dino switches to that. They can also still go Tracer for Dino and switch.
I like that too. Mac, please. Sorry, I'm staring at the draft. I'm excited for this last pick.
Fine.
But what are you thinking for this last pick as well as the drafts?
I think. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe some artillery.
Okay.
We need to pick a Hasu character as well. That's where my head was at. Junkrat, I was leaning to that in the beginning, but Chromie is still up, super strong versus Garrosh, right? I'm actually very concerned about this Garrosh pick. There's nothing that's really activating him. You could argue that the Hanzo arrow into a Garrosh taunt can be really powerful, but I'd say now that this Chromie pick exists, right? If Slowing Sands is the choice with a couple traps on the ground, Garrosh is just never going to be able to really interact with the side of 30k until they want to react with him. I always talk about with Garrosh too, characters that keep gap and space on him are what he doesn't want to play against. And almost all of 30k knock back from ETC, right? I would even argue Dahaka's tongue is very good versus him because he has to step forward and get close to kind of interact. And when he does, if you go tongue range at 16 especially, your range of your tongue is further than his Q, right? So a lot of the time you'll catch Garrosh players off guard, pull them right into the middle of your team, and then look at all the CC that 30k has to layer on top of that. Slide, Uther stun, even the Chromie follow-up. So I would say just from a draft point of view, I can't see how 30k loses this as long as they play it properly. A lot of it being that Garrosh pick from the side of Storm. I'm going to give this one to 30k. They're already playing so well. See if they can win game number 2 here.
Thank you, as always, McIntyre, for your insight. And we'll see if you curse 30k and start things over for STORM Esports as we get into map number 2, Cursed Hollow. We've got 30k in the blue, ETC played by X-Ray, Dino on the Cassia, Hazuabs on the Chromie, Yasu on the Uther, and Liam on the Dahaka. Over in the red, we're going to be looking...
Quick note.
Yeah?
Look at this lineup. They're positioning to dodge the first time Walker's Pursuit. From Chromie.
Wait, hold on, really? Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where is it?
You can do it. Well, he hasn't used it yet.
There it is.
Look, they're dodging it.
So they're not
that
showing
was 100%.
That's
Sorry to interrupt your introduction.
You're fine.
Chromie can actually hit Time Walker's Pursuit before the gates open, and if you tap it, you get a 4-second reveal on mid-gate. You tap it right before the gates open, as everyone is clamoring to get through. You get the guaranteed note. Oh, nice by X-Ray. That's why you get ETC into Garrosh, even though it was picked in the other order. That's why you don't go Garrosh into ETC, I suppose. But super cool anti-vision play by Storm, actually.
Denying a little bit of that vision, and it's a very, very important thing early game, because as you're mentioning here, Grubby, what it empowers for the side of Storm Esports is the fact that 30k goes, all right, is Storm going to try and rush one of our towers bottom lane? Should our Dahaka be worried? Should the Chromium top? So it is very good of you to note that, so people at home know, well, why are they just sitting around in such an awkward positioning? But yeah, that's really, really cool. And then, you know what? We got STORM Esports in the red. That's all we're going to do for that one. I actually want to talk about the draft a little bit further. McIntyre made some really cool notes, and I agree with him so much. I think 30k, when played correctly, this is a very hard draft to deal with on the side of STORM Esports. STORM Esports, they have some really good tools here, but it feels like there's a lot of anti-play from 30k into STORM Esports, like McIntyre mentioned with the ETC into Garrosh. What do you think about this draft? I'm going to give this one over to 30k, but what are your thoughts here as we kind of have the setup for Cursed Hollow, a few camps here and there?
Yeah, I'm with the both of you on that, but I also like to keep it exciting in this way. Garrosh will have massive issues into almost everyone. He's uniquely picked here, I think, to protect Hanzo and Tychus, because he is a backline protector, much like Mei can be and Johanna can be, but he's a bit more punitive to people that step up, so he wants to enable the Tychus Hanzo, don't move past me. Garrosh is good when you have more poke than the opponent, and that's why Chromie was so intelligent as well. But Garrosh's job is to take down the Cassia. He will keep her more honest. The Cassia can now only use Lightning Fury to poke at him. I can't really activate on Tychus unless Garrosh isn't there. Here is the secret sauce, and the one chance, I believe, for Storm to win team fights. It's BBJ. It's BBJ's Karazin. If he gets bonus dashes at 7, a movement speed dash at level 13 that gives mount speed for several seconds on someone of his allied team that he dashes towards, he can make Garrosh step up much quicker than usual. Garrosh has a self-cleanse, so he can actually basically ignore ETC's Power Slide and Phase Smelt combo while having that level 13 movement speed.
Tried for it, Dino.
Yeah. I guess he lost vision. It actually works when you have vision, but he lost it and it stopped. Cool though. Nice trick if you have an ally there, you can actually fend around the bush. But yeah, the final note, 13 movement speed, 16 cleansing dash, that's the key for Garrosh to step up.
We'll see if the members of STORM Esports can get to that point, as BBJ does have the first channel on the first objective phase. We're not going to be seeing a 14-minute first objective phase like we have in previous CCL games. Liam's still in top lane versus Dayquaza. There was that camp grab by Dino, and I think because Dino didn't get that kind of jump around the camp, that slowed down his rotation to the objective. So I think 30k was like, you know what, let's just play the map, let's close the slight experience gap that the enemy team is forming over us, and just make sure that we don't fall behind on a macro sense, because there's no Falstad from Hazoubs this game. It's just going to be Liam on the Dahako, and I don't feel like you want to just be Zing around the map just to clear lanes. You want to have impactful brush stocks from the Dahaka during objective phases, and it's a 75-second cooldown for that one, as we do have our second objective phase of the game. No curse, but it could be curse potential over on the side of STORM Esports. Yeah,
it puts it on curse point. Garrosh also received a few changes in the patch. Hold that thought, X-Ray taking a lot of damage to his Power Slide. A fancy unstoppable proc by Garrosh, by Laubert, to block the Power Slide, but I feel like there was the lack of threat that makes that one feel like a waste. Note that this is now on a 25-second cooldown. Storm is going to have to delay for long enough to make that come back, and you can kind of see the issue here for Laubert not having that. They're going to try to zone this STORM Esports. However, 30k is already split 1-1-3. Oh, Chromie we'll just try to make this last real long, and 30k is going to try to pull ahead in the macro.
Lauber got hit with that time trap. Here's the brush stock from Liam. This is the... Oh, that's the brush stock I was talking about that you need to make the play from. Almost got the tongue drag. If that tongue drag would have connected onto Lauber, he would have 100% been dead, as Liam is trying to body block, I believe, Dino's scatter arrows from Hanzo into Dino, I think. Otherwise, maybe he was just trying to... I don't know, just get close to Dino during the capture phase. Maybe just give him a little bit of a hug. but it's a half a level, maybe quarter level difference between these two teams. A few lanes need to be cleaned out. As Hazuabs and Dino, I'm looking at the minimap. Are they going for boss and bottom left? I believe so. So it's going to be boss traded out before 10 talent tier. And the next objective will be top left. Favorable position for the side of 30k as Yasu threatens with his positioning. Is he going to get picked off here? Possibly.
I think he lives because of Pursuit of Justice, his level 4 talent. He drops real low. There's a shockwave. The kill confirmed. Kepi though. Kepi. Wow. Kepi actually dies to a solo X-Ray rotation, making that a 1-for-1. Very nice rotation by X-Ray. Final note on Garrosh. Garrosh's talents got reworked a bit. He now has a level 7 Oppressor, Bloodthirst, and auto attacks, allowing him to reduce an enemy target's spell power for 2.5 seconds by 30%. That means he's going to be focusing Cassia to make her deal less damage in team fights. It even works retroactively. She already throws the ball lightning. You then cast an auto attack or a bloodthirst on her. The ball lightning is going to do less damage for 2.5 seconds. Pretty legit. And he gets into the fray on a baseline activatable, if you're wondering why he didn't take that.
It is now baked into his kit, and I was actually talking about this on my own stream when the changes came through. I feel like thematically with Garrosh, it just works with his kit. Like, I like that you have this. You can throw the enemy member, you can throw a friendly member. I feel like that just works so well. Like a Stitches, you know, with the friendly hook being baked in baseline or being baked into his kit ages ago. I just think it works with the theme of the character, and that kind of excites me when we look at some of these heroes as. I'm peeking around some of these talents as well, and I was also thinking about what you were talking about, that level 7. Another cool thing for anyone that doesn't know, if you're an Ana player and you have a friend that likes to play Pyroblast Kael'thas, you can actually nano boost the Kael'thas after the Pyroblast has been cast, and it will actually amplify that Pyroblast damage while the missile or the Pyroblast is in air. You don't have to nano boost the Kael'thas before he casts it. So if anyone's ever wondering, like, I think that Pyroblast needs a little extra damage, just hit that R on your Kael'thas player. There you go. It's something you take in the Storm League and really burst down the enemy players.
Yeah, or ARAM. I just had a 2.8k Pyroblast that killed 3 people. So nice. All right, legit, Baha. Storm has been doing really well so far. Their levels and their fortifications are actually looking healthy. They are in the lead in macro against a team that has a Dahaka, they having no global. This is a fantastic performance so far by Storm, and they're just a little bit quicker to get to level 13. They are down a tribute though, and this is where things come to a head. This is a difficult position to prevent Chromie from preventing you taking the curse. Laubert's trying to do so. The tribute is being channeled. That's a 2 out of 3 for both. Great job by Storm, zoning enough. We have a power slide. There's an arrow. Only on Uther. They're going to burst him down. He actually de-shields himself.
Cassia is trying to walk out of this. Yasu's very low. ETC gets picked off first. The Commandeer Odin snipes onto this Uther. He goes down as well. A double kill for STORM Esports as the scatter arrow catches the butt of Dino. And this will be a triple kill. Excuse me, a quad kill over to the side of STORM Esports and a boss to be had for free for our red team.
Double root on the boss. But that was a great catch there by CPX. He's showing prowess there on Hanto, and not just Medivh anymore. There was a good arrow that led into the Uther kill that forced Uther to de-shield himself or die. Perhaps this was a wrong decision. However, it makes sense to actually save, like, to de-shield yourself if you think everyone else can get away. Right. And that turned out not to be the case this time. 30k suffers big losses at the hands of Storm by Storm's good initiation with the arrow and the follow-up. Really, really legit. And that's another gap closer, right? Hanzo's arrow allows Garrosh to step up. He gets that bonus movement speed. Did he grab it? Yes, Quicksilver on Kara Team 13.
That's a big one, as you're mentioning, Grubby. It's movement speed while unmounted, 30% movement speed increase when you get that dash. I feel like now, maybe comms? Are comms a good time right now, Grubby?
It's too hectic maybe right now. We have to see what's happening. We could just miss something crucial. Storm is trying to get up close enough, but you know, they're in a good spot. They're allowed to give this up. I think you just take the curse. Okay. You're up 1.9 forts. You mount a bit of a defense everywhere, and the moment you hit 16, bang, you collapse.
Okay. So a little turtle till 16 and then turn things around on the side of 30k. I was actually expecting that objective phase to be delayed out a lot longer. I thought I could get us into comms, but good call, Grubby, as it did not really blow up in the sense
maybe.
that... Now it's good.
Because
Okay.
Yeah, because they are 16. Storm Esports?
Let's go into Storm.
Get out.
Okay, I'm clearing bot.
They will be fine mid.
Watch arrow mid. Yo, I'm airing mid.
Yeah, I'm staying. Oh.
NT.
Careful. I get stopped though.
I'm on my way up now.
Alright, that's fine. They're not getting that much with the curse. I guess they get 2 forts.
I can come mid.
We can look at them.
Yeah, they're not 16 yet. Yeah.
I'm coming from there.
Keep running at them.
I'm solo mashed. That's
Shield
fine.
lost. Kill backline.
Hit front line instead. Look at X-ray.
I dodged ISO.
I'm on Leo.
I need
I'm
help.
there.
Coming. ETC no slide. ETC up here no slide.
It's wait, no,
I can only hit Uther.
Boom.
Pulse.
Yeah.
We take.
Fuck forward. Let's make sure we get the boss.
Cool, calm, and collective were those comms from Storm. They didn't even sound like a team that lost the first game in a best-of-5 series. Lobber with the communication, the little T-Tor arrow at the start, but BBJ calling out some nice targets in the split fight there, Grubby. A lot of good control, a lot of very good, clean comms as well. Like, that's probably the cleanest comms I've heard in CCL so far.
Well, they did have a bit of a difference of opinion on who they should focus.
True.
Team said ETC no slide, let's focus him. Then there was the call focus backline, which Dequaza did and got a kill. And someone else said no, let's focus frontline. So there was about 3 different things happening, but throughout all those prioritizations, every player is also using their own personal best judgment, the situation as they see it in front of them, and that is important. The calls were not really hectic because they were winning the fight, right? So it wasn't like do or die. Everyone found their mark. Overall, it was a very well done fight. And Storm gets another victory there. Even though the Hanzo arrow didn't quite hit, it did zone Uther enough to allow Storm to close the gap really well. And yeah, another great fight by them. They're 2 out of 3 in Tribute. They survived the curse without too much losses. And they're looking at level 20. Storm has 30k on the back foot.
I had to look at this. I think it was actually the Into the Fray that actually got the kill into the Uther. Liam pops the isolation, tries to burrow away. The Storm bow. Oh my god. The arrow is ripped into Liam, but right as he goes for the brush stock, he's going to take the enemy team on a bit of an adventure. Will sustain his essence in this, but here's the major factor, Grubby. 25 seconds on the objective, 42 seconds on that Dahaka death timer. And I think it's a 10-second cooldown on his brush stock, but this is curse potential for the side of Storm Esports. This could be huge for them, as they could look at taking down a keep and going core after this objective. Will Hazuabs be able to delay things out? X-Ray, not going to get picked off. That staggered death would have been way worse for 30k if it happened.
Yeah, that would have been devastating and a really key moment there because it's X-Ray 1v5, but he had to cover the retreat via the top lane for his team. At this point, 30k is going to have to absorb that curse with all the consequences that you said possibly coming to pass. It's 3 keeps. Where are the bosses? 3 minutes away, 1 second. Bottom boss available. Will they use the curse to get the boss? Or will they do a bit of pressure then fall back and get the boss? They are just going to straight up go for it.
I think Boss also pushes the members of Storm Esports into that 20 talent tier range, so they'll also have 20 talent tier with a Boss marching through bottom. But as we like to discuss here and there, grabbing Boss at the start of your curse, that's roughly 20 seconds that was just spent of the 60 on curse to grab a Boss. So now we've got 35 seconds of siege time, but that Boss still has to meander all the way through bottom, and Liam Liam was showing in top. He's gonna hearth out. Still
the ideal
really,
time.
Yeah.
Usually, if you have tribute and boss simultaneously available, you grab the boss, wait 10 seconds, and then you get the tribute. But they didn't have that luxury. They've still done the next best thing as an arrow comes in. It's a huge arrow. Cassia drops to 20% immediately. There's this shockwave. X-Ray steps forward, but D-Shield actually forced on Chromie. That means X-Ray has not got the protection that he needs. Storm cleaning up. Just devastatingly. It's 12 versus 2 in takedowns. Completely blindsided here on the predictions into what the actual reality of this match was. Storm was definitely able to initiate. Gyros worked out. Arrows were great. CPX was great. And Storm gets their first victory in this best of 5. And they equalize in a 1-1.
Finding the pentakill to pad the stats a little bit, and Storm Esports equalizes in our best of 5 series of the day, 1-1 on Cursed Hollow. A phenomenal map, Grubby. That was amazing gameplay from Storm and shutting down what we thought was a very strong 30k win. As we go ahead and look at the stats here in a second, I want to get McIntyre's thoughts on this. Are you as shocked as we are, or are you just sitting there comfortable in your PSD underwear like, nah, I expected this actually?
We got ourselves a ball game here, right? Definitely Storm coming out swinging. I it's funny, we talked about the Garrosh having a hard time engaging, and time again it seemed like Hanzo CPX with those NA arrows, right? We just continuously connecting, causing enough ruckus from the side of 30k that Hogger found the flanks, they found the engages. Timings of 30k's comp were not able to be executed properly, right? They had to panic D-shield a lot, right? They couldn't really force. I think Storm did a really good job, I think, of keeping 30k on their toes and not able to set up imposture around the curses. And we saw, even when 30k set up on curses, Storm was like, all right, y'all can have that one. We'll try to fight you the next one, right? They gave up that curse. It was 16-15, and then all of a sudden, Labra's like, hey, can we engage? Sure, I'm rotating down. Dequaza getting a great side flank there, right? Hits the shockwave, able to pick up Dino, and they're off to the races there in the middle lane. Yeah, I think it was just a really well-played game from Storm with the comp that they had, and just showing us the power of, Hanzo and those arrows, right? How much damage can that really do to a comp like 30Ks that really wants to set up in posture and kind of wait for the fight to come to them, right? And Hanzo does a great job of bringing it to them at a time when they're not so ready and prepared for it. So really, really well-played game there from Storm. I think it's interesting, the call there at the very end. 17-19, we were like, oh, this, 20 seconds of the curse is down. They got the curse. Now they're doing boss. But then again, Arrow connects onto the back line, both Chromie and Cassia, and they just stomp right over top of them. Head to the core. Really good activation on a wind condition. All right, closing out before the side of 30k can get to level 20. Really well played from Storm. This series may just go the distance here after game number 2.
We'll have to see what's going to happen with this series. After a short little break, we're going to go stretch our legs and get ready for map number 3 in our first best of 5 of the day. In that break, I encourage you to hit !! prize pool to get you over to the custom Matcherino page. And if you'd like to donate towards that prize pool, it's always very much appreciated. Thank you all for supporting Heroes CCL. We'll be back with map number 3 in our first best of 5 of the day. Does 30k continue, or excuse me, does Storm Esports continue to turn things around, or will 30k shut down the series in a 3-1? We'll find out after the break. Don't go anywhere. This is Heroes CCL. Welcome back to Heroes CCL. We're in the midst of our first best of 5 of the weekend, and it's pretty exciting. 30k had a strong start in our first map on Sky Temples, shutting down the members of Storm Esports fairly quickly in like a sub 13-minute game. But then we went to Cursed Hollow, and Storm Esports continued to, well, I guess I wouldn't say continue, but they shut down 30k's continuation of any sort of dominance. Let's go ahead and take a look at where we're heading to for map number 3, as it has been exciting in this best of 5 series, excuse me, so far. Storm Esports will be choosing to take us to the map of Infernal Shrines. And now, Grubby, what are your thoughts getting into this, or just the thoughts on the series unfolding in front of us?
Well, so far we've had 2 extreme macro maps. We've had Sky Temple and Cursed Hollow, and then there's Alterac, and that one is gone. So the 3 most extreme macro maps are now out of the pool. It's going to heat up on Infernal Shrines. And with the maps remaining, there's going to be more team fighting. But one interesting trend that we all kind of talked about during this break, McIntyre and Bahamut, Kharazim's rise to prominence, being picked in the first half of the draft in both cases. And both times the Kharazim team is winning as well.
So it's like Stitches, like last weekend.
Yeah,
you pick them,
Stitches.
you win.
I was gonna. Well, we were even saying too. Is it because of the Stitches, right? Is it because teams are just picking it and winning? That if you prioritize Kharazim, you just push the other team off of the pick completely and say, we'll just 7-sided your Stitches if you choose to continue to go that route. So, it has been interesting. A lot of the tanks got buffed in this patch as well. We see Lauber actually, has now played 2 of the few reworked tanks, right? We'll see now. Maybe this is the Blaze game, right? Let's just go down the list. This would be a great map for it. But the Kharazim pick has definitely caught on to at least these two teams' metas. And we'll see another pick definitely that has caught on to these two teams' meta is going to be that Tychus first ban from the side of 30k. I think it's a great way to open it. Storm just looks so good with the pick, right?
BBJ's Kharazim in the past has always been strong. I think Grubby mentioned it during the last game on Cursed Hollow that it's kind of on the shoulders of BBJ to make some of these calls and plays, but I also do want to give credit where it was due in that last game. CPX had a lot of that gap distance closing setup with those big arrows. Mind you, only 2 big arrows really connected, but those were the 2 arrows that the first one had a massive momentum shift. The second one was a game-ending push. So all in all, I think there was like maybe 4 or 5 arrows total, so you had a 50% accuracy. That 50% yields you a win. That's a big game changer for me. So I at least have to give that credit for CPX, as he was able to really dominate on that Hanzo and did a pretty good job on the Medivh on Cursed Hollow. Just that Cursed Hollow game Sky Temple game just looks so hard for the side of Storm Esports. But Grubby, we're through our bans. What are you thinking here? I see you pondering and pontificating.
Yes, what does that Ana ban mean?
Yeah, I don't.
Such an early Ana ban against a European player.
Mephisto, Kepi, Ana. I don't know. Because Kepi's on Storm.
It's protecting a pick, and it's not Uther, because Uther relies on armor, not healing. I don't think it's Lucio either. Like, Lucio is not weak into Ana. I don't get it yet. There's gonna be some kind of tank or bruiser that self heals that doesn't like playing into her.
Cho'Gall, right? That's the answer here, isn't it?
I mean, no, 30k, they banned out the Tychus, they banned out the Medivh, strict counters to Cho'Gall. Ana's a great buff to Cho'Gall as well, healing buff.
OPM.
Yeah, just I'll do that in the next break once we have the Brightwing Tassadar.
It could just be like they don't want to draft. Like, I think with Ana, you really need a pick or several picks to kind of deal with her, and it may just be that Storm doesn't want to draft any of those, dive past and pressure the Ana, or like CC her out, right? Like a Zeratul or a Maywall or something. So it may just be that it's something that they just don't want to play against, not so much a target ban towards 30k or a strategy that they're building, right? But the Mathiel banned out, I think that is interesting, right? The Cho'Gall is probably coming at this point. All of these % health.
Hey!
And we do see the Blaze, possibly an offlane Blaze. Could be main tank though. And now we'll see if 30k makes Baha's day or makes their own day and picks a normal composition.
Do it. Don't be cowards, 30k. Don't be cowards. You'll win the game. Trust me. You'll win the game. Oxygen beat Simplicity with it, okay? Wildheart lost, but that's whatever. Realistically though, like, the Ana grenade, maybe that's just BBJ saying, I don't want to have my healing potentially shut down for friendly members. So maybe it's just a safety play. Maybe it's just more or less a safety play. Or there might have been a scrim thing where there was like a nano boosted Tassadar or something like that 30k ran. So there might be some hidden information from us. But this is a nice Anubrak Falstad. I want to get McIntyre's closing thoughts on the draft as well as maybe this last pick for the side of Storm.
I mean, think so far both of these teams have pretty reasonable drafts. I do like that we finally get to see the Anub from the side of 30k. It's been banned out a lot. Also, that Falstad looked very good game number 1 for them. We'll see if it continues to look good here in game number 3. They do have the double global pressure with the Brightwing. I would argue Brightwing Anub is not like my super favorite synergy duo when it comes to healer tank. So they'll definitely work around each other, but they do a lot of the same things. Maybe an Emerald Wind, right? We did get our Emerald
man.
Wind. We rework.
It's buffed.
Words are very hard
It was
sometimes.
buffed to all heck,
Yeah.
Mac.
5-second CD at level 20 with like no mana cost. It'd be kind of sick against the Varian, right? Keep pushing him back every time he tries to charge in. But yeah, for the side of Storm, there's so much aggression, so much aggro.
Yeah.
We get to see that Blaze rework as well. The Sylvanas Junkrat. I feel like Storm's comp here just looks super sick. They have a lot going on for them. They can be proactive with the Lucio while also having that wave clear side pressure from all three of those characters. Junkrat, Blaze, and Sylvanas are very good at maintaining and manipulating waves, and even just sieging down towers. So I'll give this one to the side of Storm. I think their draft is a little bit better. It'll be interesting to see, if 30K can use those globals to get that advantage and win this game number 3.
Alrighty, thank you, McIntyre, for the breakdown. We'll see you after Infernal Shrines for a little further explanation onto what happens. And let's see what's going to happen here. So we've got Hazuabs on the Falstad for 30K. We've got Yasuo on the Brightwing, Hogger played by Liam, X-Ray on the Anub'arak, and Dino on the Tassadar. Over on the opposing side of the battleground, we're going to see Storm Esports, BBJ on the Lucio, CPX playing the Junkrat, Dequaz on the Blaze, and Kepi playing the Sylvanas, and Lauber on the Varian. Grubby, I struggle a little bit with this one because there's a lot of really good tools on the side of 30K, but the same can be said about Storm. And I'm going to just go with my gut on this. I'm going to go with the Storm Esports win. I feel like they've got a lot of just chain CC, a lot of control. I think Lucio can kind of run away a little bit with some of the setup and mobility amplification for Storm Esports. So I think Storm Esports has the win in this if they can get the momentum behind them. What do you think about these two drafts going into Infernal Shrines?
Yeah, I agree with you here, Bahamut. I think that the Anub'arak is going to struggle on the front line. He doesn't really kill Varian or Blaze, two of the hardest to kill on the front line very easily. Like Falstad and Tassadar can... Falstad in particular hits mostly front line. Tassadar can penetrate a bit to the back, but there's no massive follow-up. I think they're going to struggle, especially that Anub'arak. His health pool's also pretty small, so he doesn't take as many heals from a Brightwing. And it's a little bit abusable to actually port in with Brightwing on the Anub'arak when you have Wailing Arrow, Concussive Mine, Riptire, and everything that Blaze does, basically. So I love what Storm Esports put together here. I think we're going to see the power of Blaze, but that doesn't bar out any individual or team mistakes. Anything can happen.
Dequaz is just going to jet propulsion right next to the enemy team. Liam tries to go for the infinite spin, doesn't manage to do so, but a lot of the members of Storm Esports are getting low. 30K a little bit healthier in this engagement as Storm finds a huge jet propulsion. Hogger goes down. That's a wonderful pick for the side of Storm Esports, who also nabbed this camp through the bottom lane. Lauber lived with some sort of 300-ish health, and I would expect this to be camps on the right, maybe even an invade onto the left side for mid lane from Storm Esports, playing that slight momentum fast. But no, Lauber hearths away, and it's just back to lane priority. We actually have BBJ going all the way to top lane, and our first objective, Grubby, will be Mortar Punisher through mid lane. Not based on like the actual like power level, but which Punisher do you kind of like to have backing you up for a first shrine? Because I kind of feel like Mortar can be really stompy and aggressive. I know Arcane's really powerful and Frozen does siege okay, but like I kind of like this Mortar for the first one a little bit.
I love Frozens all day, every day. Just the roots, the potential that you have to play with the roots, especially as a Lucio, pushing people into, what is it, a 2+ second root, 225 or something. It's just massive, I think. But it is going to be a Mortar. Mortar is one of the best, top 2 in unsupported Punishers. So you're more incentivized to go to a different lane and push somewhere else when there's a Mortar or Arcane. Frozen, you really want to be there to capitalize on the lockdown. So that can kind of influence playing decisions. As for positioning, bottom, gonna get that Bruiser priority top. We'll be curious to see when Sylvanas and Brightwing will be joining for their part. And even Dequaza and Kepi are there right now with Sylv and Blaze. That's a massive threat that 30K can hardly ignore.
Liam sets up for the infinite bounce around the shrine, goes for it. We'll see.
Doesn't exist.
Well, he tried his best. Well, not infinite, sorry, just like, what is it, like 8 bounces is like the max that you can get on that bottom?
This is based on feeling and empirical evidence, but yeah, 8 bounces, 8 squares. That's pretty much usually enough to secure it. But this was not the best angling. This one's a lot better. I think it's going to go at least 6 revolutions. This is 3. Oh. Interesting. A complex spin, but no, it's done. Anyway, they're gonna get the skeletons.
Yeah. Skeletal defenders go over to the side of 30k. 7 talent here over to the side of STORM Esports first, and that's mostly through that initial kill and the lack of priority onto the subjective phase, soaking out in all 3 of the lanes. And that experience still, there's a little bit of experience in lane, so it's that deficit isn't as big as it looks like. Maybe more of like a half a level. As Storm pokes at a few of these skeletal defenders, and Liam is able to get the last auto into this. So Mortar Punisher bottom lane, polymorph onto Dequaza, who's trying to back off, is going to be able to pop their trait, and Kepi comes in and just shuts down Hazuabs. Wow.
That feels like a little bit of a mistake from Yazoo there, or the communication of 30k. Here's what happened. You can gank Blaze if you cut off his retreat, as his tanking escape relies on a clear path. If you block his jet propulsion, even as a tracer or as a Falstad, you can stop him in his tracks. But Yazoo has to work with a 2-second delayed heal with that phase shift, and he didn't use it immediately. There we see that in effect again. Holger, of course, a lot tankier than Falstad. You saw the immediate ping by Storm. Falstad, no E, no barrel. They came in, they killed him, and the Z never procced. I think Falstad had to go immediately if they wanted to make that play. 30k's mistake gets punished there by Storm, who did lose the objective, but they defended pretty well, and they got the whole top fort via that kill on Falstad and the Black Arrows from Kepi's Sylvanas.
Next objective, as you were mentioning, what was gained during that last objective will be mid lane, going to be an Arcane Punisher. No Frozen just yet. But the other thing to note, too, is we'll have 10 talent here during the second objective phase. And I'd love to jump into some comms maybe during that objective phase to hear what these players are saying. And I feel like this second objective is going to be a little more prioritized. I don't think we have Storm ignore another objective phase getting into this map.
Yeah, for sure. They probably don't need to. They've come into all of their power spikes, high five, Riptire, Bunker, Wailing, and Taunt, of course, was already available. Quasar looking for the stun there, gets the stun. Blaze reworked, ladies and gents. He's got level 7 suppressive fire. If he hits a flame stream, that's minus 25 spell power. Hit both and it's minus 50%. That's for 4 seconds. This now comes at level 7, not at level 13. Very powerful to get that tanking ability early. And then at level 13, he gets a 700 damage jet collision. It's a huge burst damage when he charges in.
So wait, is Blaze, was he a tank? Is he a melee assassin, a range assassin? What's the category here,
Yes.
Grubby? Yes, he is. It's like Imperious at one point. It's just, what does he do? He just is Imperious, and then he got nerfed into the ground and we never see him anymore. But anyways.
He's coming back, I believe, phase.
I keep saying, you know, Goon, the owner of Wildhearts, but he's been talking a lot of Imperious. Maybe we'll see it tomorrow in that Wildheart game versus Granite. Maybe he's convinced the boys to play it. Maybe Justing's the one pushing this. Maybe, just maybe. But that's tomorrow's matches. We're in this match right now. That next objective should be announced through mid, and there it actually is, the announcement. A little bit of pressure into the front gate. Do you want to jump into some comps for this, Grubby, or do you want to wait a little bit, see what the setup looks like?
I think in about 15 seconds when it's about to start, it'll be super interesting to hear from 30k as they're up against it. They're fighting against the 13 talent, and they're sure to be thinking about how to get back into this with their extensive macro knowledge. I think now would be a great time.
Into 30k we go.
Come, we get lead. They are playing 13. Fights at global.
They have 13 now.
Yeah.
I can't even spin into them. We just play slow, poke it.
Get mid.
There's a Blaze behind us.
We could get another wave from bottom.
It's. I don't think we play for this down 13, do we?
No, we don't. We need to get 13. We can still fight maybe if we get it. No,
I mean, then we push
No,
bottom.
we're not getting 13.
Yeah.
Just give it. I'll clear top.
Should maybe bait, yeah, for the Lucio.
I'm going.
I'm alone. Maybe driving
with me.
We can't show right now where they're gonna gank us, Yasu. They
I
can come
need
for
to
you
bait
right
the
now.
Punisher. Leave. We need to defend.
Care
They
top.
might 39 it, but I doubt it. Warrior was mid. Yeah, 13 now.
Yeah, 13 is really big for me.
I will bait the Punisher. Safe can disable the fort though. They might go
I'll
super
let you
deep.
clear this. I'm coming now. There's
I'm
a blaze
flying.
behind us.
Blade's behind.
I baited the Punisher.
I'm here. I'm
Fourth
hitting
top.
blaze.
Yeah, we could fight this.
No, I'm hitting
Safe
the boss.
Safe will
Just
run
be
out
careful.
of
The boss is
arrow.
gonna kill us if we fight.
They're going
Okay.
for bot after. They're doing camp already.
I'll go bottom right now.
One guy def the boss.
I do it.
I'm getting.
Objective phase gained through mid lane on the side of Storm Esports, and 30k just playing it safe, playing it smart in my opinion. Grubby just waiting for 13 talent here, defending the Punisher. They'll lose their mid lane gate, or excuse me, lose their mid lane forward, a little bit of some camp pressure as well, but it's only been 2 kills to the side of Storm. I think 30k is playing from behind a little bit, but they're playing from behind well.
Yeah, they're doing the best they can, but unfortunately in this case, we're seeing the problem materialize where they don't really get to decide where to fight. They're getting Sky Templed as there's a big Wailing Arrow Riptide, but nice save from Yazoo on Dino there with the spell armor, with the phase shift as well. Liam very exposed, but he spins a pretty decent spin, trying to cut people off. Geppy goes down, Dynamite by Liam. He gets the last hit, Lucio caught as well. Beatles, can they catch him? No, he gets away. How did Dino get there? I'm sure there's tail, but he
Yasu?
has the save. Wait, Yasu?
I don't know why he was where he was, but Yasu gets picked off and traded out. It's a Sylvanas
I think
for
he
a
was
Bright
saving
Wing.
Dino?
Maybe? I phase shift's on like a 5-second cooldown, so it's not like he phase. Either way,
I think he blink healed on Tassadar, who was using the Invis, so it looked like Brightwing just Sonya leaped in the middle. But yeah, this is still totally fine for Storm Esports.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, they had a push go in, they're still getting bot forward, they got mid keep wall. 30k, it's getting Sky Templed, basically. This is the comeuppance, the karma from game number 1.
and
We talked about this in the predictions. Storm has everything they need to not die. Note, Locust Swarm and Uberak, by the way. That is how much 30k cannot do a blow up, which an Uberak usually wants.
I honestly, Grubby, I never see this, so I actually have to go through the talent. Deal 123 damage per second, scaling to nearby enemies. Each enemy hero damage restores 43, I believe, 43 health scaling in last 6 seconds. 100 second cooldown onto that one. This is a little rough. I do agree. And
Locust Swarm is like Avatar. It's health. And in this case, it's a bit of damage. But it's more the absence of seeing anything coming out of Cocoon. When a Nubarak doesn't know how to use Cocoon, when the Nubarak's team doesn't know how to use Cocoon to blow anyone up, you've got a problem. And Locust Swarm is just a symptom of it.
I'd be really curious to talk to X-Ray about that as well. If this is just for this map, or is this something that he takes even in his own games, or is it like it
No.
No?
This is just because there's 2 tanks, Blaze and Varian. One is
Sure.
played as an offlaner, but it's like a tank. So there's no point cocooning something that has been duplicated.
Okay.
Normally you're like -1 healer, the only healer. -1 tank, the only tank.
I
or
get
-1 hyper carry, the only one. But everything is duplicated here except Lucio. He's gonna stay well away from cocoon if he's smart. And therefore there is nothing to cocoon and blow up. That's not the kind of team 30k has. In fact, Tassadar, he's got the Side Storm build. This is very much about objective, wave clear, spread damage. It's not blow up. He doesn't have that level 1 Q talent. So there's really no way to action on a cocoon.
Even then, I look at this too. You got CPX on the Junkrat, which is a great way just to knock everyone away. But a Riptire comes out from Junkrat. Oh my god, did Hogger almost die? There's a Gust from False there, which I believe interrupted that. X-Ray getting very low on the Snubrak. Gets trying to back off right now. He is able to disengage as the bunker came out. Hortipult from Liam is forced as he gets away as well. Varian and crew thinking about chasing in as there was a staggering blow from Liam to force back the enemy side. But this objective phase is looking cool, calm, collective, and controlled on the side of Storm Esports as they begin to build more momentum through top lane and will force a huge Punisher into this keep and top. We've talked about the 3 Punishers here, Grubby. This is that frozen one. This is the one that you and I both said. This is the one to siege with. This is the Punisher to win.
Yeah, this is the one to end all dreams, and I think Storm Esports will 39 it this time. So they'll be looking to get as close as possible to level 20. They've got the luxury to not finish this objective right now. Oh, really? I have to believe that was not a mistake. Okay, they think that 1.5 level is too far of a gap, and they're also feeling the counter lane pressure of Yazoo and Hazu ops. This time I can actually say Yazoo ops and not have it be a mistake. They want to immediately move to disable the Globals' influence on their bottom lane, to push down the keep, and maybe go for core pre-20.
It's a big attempt. Nice use of the burrow charge from X-Ray. He eats the Punisher jump, which is baited in towards mid, but the Punisher is a little too focused on that top lane keep. Actually, is too focused on the top lane well, and this is looking like it could be core attempt. Jet propulsion from the Blaze. There's going to be the Gust from Falstad. Huge jump from the Punisher as CPX comes in with the Riptire, blasting down some of the enemy members. Taunt from the Varian goes on to Liam, who's getting very low. He goes down to the Nexus Forces. A very low Yazoo, a very low Dino as they're underneath this keep, but that does not dissuade the side of Storm Esports from diving underneath keep, and the shutdown onto the tower was just so necessary as that keep might have shredded the enemy side. And now we see a few members of Storm confirming the mid lane keep as the Punisher does fall. BBJ was picked off, Yasu and Daquazi go down, but that is a pick onto Lobber. Jump propulsion to the face of Tassadar, and the Blaze goes down. As you mentioned, Grubby, level 13 collision core, 685 damage to the first enemy hero hit, and Azuabs dives in onto CPX, who goes down. It's going to be a quad kill for a triple kill, and 30K kind of comes out. No, I wouldn't say they come out on top. I mean, they lost 2 keeps.
They have more people on the field right now.
Fair.
They're going to get their own level 20. They're going to get a keep, and if they can get any follow-up kill, they actually end here, which would be very sour grapes for Storm. Super interesting moment there. The last 2 fights, X-Ray stayed alive thanks to Locust Swarm. He got away with 1,000 health and 400 health in the last 2 fights, doing damage and staying alive. Dino had a huge moment under that mid keep where he did so much damage with Forceful, Psystorm, and the Q, which is called Shockray. You gotta keep down. They still have the global power of Falstad and Brightwing to rubber band their own losses against side pressure. 30K goes from having almost no chance to having unlocked Mighty Gust level 20. Suddenly, 30K is a real contender in this match.
Things kind of flipped on their head. That was maybe a little too over-aggressive from 30K in the dive into the mid lane. Just a little too over-aggressive. But the big thing to note, though, on the side of 30K is you got that mixing fire. You can now, reduce healing of the enemy side. Big cannonballs with the endless nades from level 13, or excuse me, level 16. Bunker from the Blaze, the fortified bunker. Blink, Bolt of the Storm for the Sylvanas, a little more mobility. And the banner, Glory to the Alliance for the Varian. I think those are all big tools as well. The biggest thing on the side of 30K to note here, Grubby, is going to be the Force Wall at level 20, the Force Barrier. That has a lot of control with the distance that you can set it up, and you have the Electric Fence from level 4 with the slowing move, with the movement speed reduction as well. This could be the big turnaround tools for the side of 30K, but we have to see that fight unfold. Next Punisher, Mortar in the mid lane. It could be game winning for Storm, and dare I say, could be game winning for 30K depending on how the team fight goes.
Either one, really, as there's a taunt on the Nubrak, a huge Wailing Arrow follow-up, but the Mighty Gust saves the day. Of course, Mighty Gust is a powerful engage tool. It was now used as an escape. BBJ going in with the mixing fire, the high fives. There's the phase shift from Brightwing. This is full disengage by 30K. They know how dangerous this is. They pull in Varian, but they don't want to follow up on it. They don't want to action on it. And Dino actually panics and turns on Tassadar. I think that was the one resource that 30K was not allowed to waste. That single Archon, I think, was the biggest waste because it was over.
Yeah. There's no Twilight Archon either, so there's no ability to just walk into lane and sustain off of a minion wave or something. But this, right here, Grubby, I think this is going to be a big fight. Big gut propulsion from Daquaza trying to set something up. Hogger just going to start his bounce in the shrine, is able to go through Force Wall because, things in Heroes.
Mechanics.
Mechanics, I will leave it at that. Phase shift from Brightwing does connect, but there was a little bit of healing reduction from the Varian onto the Hogger with the Mortal Strike. Big Anubrak burrow charge in. Blaze is going to jump Repulsion away. Big gust from the Falstad as well. X-Ray, so very low. Varian trying to find that last little bit of damage, but it's not going to be available. This is looking like the Shrine is slowly but surely going over to the side of Storm Esports. Hogger, Hortapults in. X-Ray goes in with a burrow charge. BBJ going to be diving around with the charge. Huge spin onto Hogger, but the Junkrat finds the kill with the Riptire. This is an advantage to the side of Storm Esports. BBJ comes in. There's gonna be the Blaze jump propulsion in. Brightwing got picked off by Junkrat. Tassadar goes down from the Blaze, and now X-Ray being chased by BBJ. The Mortar Punisher through mid lane. The slows, the high fives, they're all coming through onto X-Ray. He's trying to get to the keep in bottom lane. Falstad in the bottom right. Hazuabs is like, I'm just gonna go in the game, boys. I got this, don't worry. I have 40 stacks on frequent fire. I deal a lot of damage, but this is a Punisher plus the enemy team sieging onto these cores. It may be a core race, but is a feudal core race from the side of Hazuabs, as the members of Storm Esports may have looked a little shaky in the mid game, but shut things down at level 20. They'll take map number 3, Infernal Shrines, and continue to turn things around on 30K. This was extremely well played, controlled, drafted, and executed on the side of Storm. As I said, Grubby, they looked a little shaky at one point, but I think there was a really good kind of, let's pause, let's wait, let's get our big power spike with 20, and let's just shut down this game through the next Punisher phase. And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, slightly too many losses on their mid keep, but despite losing a keep, it never materialized to become a serious problem. Great drafting by Storm, and very well executed. What do you think, Mac?
Yeah, I totally agree. I was sitting there thinking this whole game, I'm not sure if there will be a Season 3 of CCL, but if there is, I may need to come back and play because Blaze is looking A1 right now. Just constantly everywhere on the map. Seemed like everywhere he was, things were happening. Dayquaza playing a great Blaze, honestly. In this sort of comp, it just seems perfect for Storm, right? They get to make that aggressive decision in these team fights. They had, I would say, a little wild, bumpy ride there on the side of 30K base when they decided to dive both mid keep and core at the same time. They were just all hanging out in between. I even saw X-Ray, live there with that Locust Swarm value, 5 targets to drain health from. Super value if there ever was value for Locust Swarm. But yeah, I think overall the Storm just dominating with that pick. The layers of aggression, as you said, no cocoon, because who do you cocoon, right? How do you stop the engage of Storm? How do you stop Lucio, right? He's able to take that mixing fire, that unstoppable level 20 for himself, and the target that he high fives. You can't wrap that person up. You can't wrap the person. It's possible to even whiff on the target that you're targeting if the high five is well timed. Yeah, just overall a really well played game from them. CPX too, just fitting right in with the team. You would never think that this is the 6th player, right? We see these CCL rosters, they have that 6th player. Mm-hmm. And here we see Storm utilizing theirs really well, picking that Junkrat for him. Top damage, top siege damage, top soaked experience. I will say, though, Hasu made a really sick play there to take him out in the middle lane. I was admiring CPX's dollar bill thrall mount, and then I was like, that's a really cool mount. And then Falside just lands right on top of his head and takes him out. Really well played there from Hasu. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'd say Storm really showing up here on this Infernal Shrines, taking game number 3.
Map number 3 was really, really exciting. I'm ecstatic to find out where we'll head into for our next map, and we can already show you right now. It's going to be the map choice of Storm Esports, Grubby. They have chosen to take us to Battlefield of Eternity, so we continue the thematic rotation of Diablo maps, but going into Battlefield, it's almost like, Grubby, it's like, as the games have gone on, it's been less and less macro and more micro. Like we started on Sky Temple, then Curse Hollow, then we start getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and now we're here on Battlefield of Eternity, a 2-lane map. There is macro play into this, but the micro, the team fight, it's very important, as well as your Immortal race.
Yeah, and it's because of the order of the maps. It's not because the teams are getting more vicious and more infighting and more aggressive. It's what the maps require. Infernal Shrines, bit of a mixed bag, and 30K did get Sky Templed a lot, but then it turned into Battlefield of Eternity at the end. This map is going to be Battlefield of Eternity from the start, and occasionally you see macro at the end if you have tough catapult defense versus core moments, while also having to race for the objective or fight or defend or attack the objective. Late game can be super interesting decision making with a lot of feints, with a lot of fake teleports and hearthstones. But early game, it's about the fights. And we've seen some new meta. We've seen Blaze coming up. We've seen Karazim coming up on Battlefield. Both of those are, I think, really good. Both Blaze and Karazim. So we're going to probably see more different drafts than we have seen so far in Season 2.
I do like this rise of Karazim, and it is because, I wouldn't say because, but it's probably partly due to the fact that Stukov is currently shut off in the game, as he's not playable in Heroes of the Storm due to a few bugs that Blizzard deemed him, well, not available for play because it's just too game breaking. So thank you, Blizzard, for actually shutting off the hero and not allowing him to just terrorize Storm League or something like that with shift queued reactive ballista spores. But now, McIntyre, I want to get your thoughts going into this map number 4. Maybe even just draft priority or playstyle from either side.
Well, I actually kind of move back a little bit and mention that 30K was actually the team that took us to both of the macro maps, right? Sky Temple and Curse Hollow. And now Storm is the one that's opting into the Diablo maps, Infernal and Battlefield of Eternity. So we are seeing kind of a stylistic choice of map when it comes to the map pick from both of these teams. And Storm's finding the success more so on those team fighting, smaller, scrappy maps, right? So when we look at these two drafts, I would assume that Storm will continue to do that, right? Pick some lead CC, maybe a secondary CC from either Hanzo, or we just saw with the Blaze, really well executed there from the side flank, right? Even Hogger on Curse Hollow. While 30K is going to look to kind of finesse the map a bit more and move the feet of Storm around the map until an opportunity kind of arises and is there for their taking. The issue is on a map like Battlefield of Eternity, that doesn't happen so much, right? You definitely have to make those opportunities and situations arise. You can do it through poke, you can do it through a very postured composition around, let's say, a Sergeant Hammer, which is something that we've seen 30K play. Or you can do it just by forcing the hand of Storm, drafting very aggressive, going multiple layers of CC, multiple ways to engage, just all-out damage. We'll see when this draft starts. I will say I've liked 30K's Tyrael Cassia comp, I think, more than their other drafts. It seems very effective with not only their players, but just their playstyle in general as a team. And Storm, just capitalizing on, again, those layers of CC, putting Lauber on something that heavily engages and Kepi on something that follows up.
We will get into that draft in just a second here. We're waiting on one player just to get ready and readied up in the lobby itself. We want to make sure that everyone is good to go and is, actually at their computer. So we'll get into this game in just a second for you all. As we are heading to Battlefield of Eternity, we're excited here because it is currently 2-1 in favor of STORM Esports in this best-of-5 series, our first one of the day as well. We will have another one later today, Diamond Hands versus Oxygen Esports. But here we go into Battlefield of Eternity. And now, Grubby, what do you want to prioritize here? Like, what would you do if you were playing on any of these teams? Like, what would you be like, this is my hero to win out Battlefield for my team?
I think you want to get an early Tychus, and I think you want to get an early Blaze. Ooh. After you have those two, I'm struggling to come up with a way that the draft really can fail very hard for you, as Blaze can both main tank and side lane. Tychus kind of kills him the best.
There you go. All right, Grubby, that's it. You only need 2 heroes to win Battlefield of Eternity, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need to draft anything else. You can just grab like a Murky, an Abathur, and a Nova, and you can just have them AFK somewhere on the map. Something like that, Grubby, right?
This is possible.
Oh, all right, cool. All right. Well, I know McIntyre would be happy about that Nova as we're here and ready to go into Battlefield draft.
Yep. I mean, I completely agree with Grubby. If I think they get those 2 picks, you probably could take Nova and be just fine. There's so much synergy between the two, that Tychus and that Blaze, that the rest of the draft complements regardless of what it is, right? It's just the side of french fries. Like, it's never bad. It doesn't matter what your main course is. If there's a plate of fries, you're always happy. So, yeah, we'll see how this draft pans out. I think the Tracer ban is very unique to Storm, not allowing Dino to play it. It's a character, I always say squirrels on this map. They work really well. Slowly poking at the kind of immortal, right? And doing it very safely and on Tracer's time, as well as the Diva ban. Looks like the Anu ban from 30K and the Vala. Vala's an interesting one. I assumed with the nerfs coming in on her, we may not see her as much this week. So interesting to see 30K choosing to take her out.
She got buffed.
Nerfed.
No. Q went from 6 to 7. Buff. Easy. GG.
Yeah, 40 stacks, and she deals 40 damage more on Q, but her multi-shot can deal 90 damage less in an average game at 50, 60 stacks.
Okay, all right, okay. So maybe I'm off a little bit on my math on that one. But there's the Tychus, there's a Hogger. You could actually still go Blaze on the side of Storm. I would love actually for Storm to go Blaze with that Tychus Hogger already. Actually, both teams.
Main tank Blaze.
Yeah.
Main tank Blaze could be cool.
Yeah.
See.
30k.
Doesn't have as good of reach into a Chromie, which before it was like Chromie's job to stop Garrosh. It was a singular job, but if you go Blaze into a team that's okay, there we go. Blaze is already picked. 30k is actually off to a great start so far.
I struggle. Yeah, like I'm looking at these two drafts. I'm like, you got a Blaze Jet Propulsion, you've got push off from push off from the Lucio, slows, stuns. That just is everything Chromie wants. But a nice ban on Deuterial. They don't want to deal with the Sanctification or even the Holy Ground McIntyre on the side of Storm Esports.
Yeah, and I mean, again, 30k just seems to do really well with that pick. Definitely could still go into the Cassia or some other Protect X character. Raynor, again, mentioned, in my opinion, rebuffed back up to a playable state with the Ace in the Hole change. So we'll see, if that's an area that they wanted to go. Hanzo ban is a great ban here from 30k. Get rid of it. Those layers of engage we were talking about can really be an issue to deal with. Storm, though, reacting very quickly. Diablo Ana. Medivh is still up. It is very possible that we can see it. And 30k should know that, right? How do we draft to respond to that? Do we get more boops? Do we go Junkrat Mines? What type of tank are we looking for to kind of counter the Medivh portals on that Diablo, protecting him?
The Medivh could be big. It's not the best map. Grubby, what were you thinking?
Not a lot of time to think about it. Those questions. It's going to be Garrosh and Malthael.
Triple melee.
Wait, is it really Dino on Blaze? Because I know he locked it in.
It may be.
That's actually what they're gonna do. I was like, maybe this is like they're just delaying to show who's gonna play what. But unironically, you asked last game, Bahamut, what is Blaze? Is he a tank? Is he an offlane? Is he a ranged? Yes, Dino ranged on Blaze.
Melee assassin, Blaze confirmed.
We'll have to see it. McIntyre, as we're loading on into the map, I want to get your thoughts and breakdown. Maybe who's got the winning draft? Is it an easy Storm 3-1 win, or do we head to a game number 5? You think?
Yeah, I mean, Storm's comp looks super sick on paper, right? You have the stem onto the Li Ming, you have the Diablo engaging, flipping into the massive Li Ming combos. Tychus, Kepis look very good on the Tychus. Those Odins can press in. I will say if 30k can get ahead early and get that level lead, right? Even just one level, I think they can just use that little bit of scaling that they get to provide enough damage to win team fights. My concern with them is because of the triple melee. How much damage does Blaze really deal? We'll find out here this game. I'm going to give it to Storm, but I still think that it is very winnable if 30k can, again, get ahead off of a few picks in the early game.
Well, thank you for your breakdown. We'll see you after the game, as we've got on the left-hand side 30k, Garrosh played by X-Ray, Malthael played by Liam, Hazuab's on the Chromie, Yasu on the Munkasteer Lucio, and Dino playing the Blaze. Dino's not being played by Blaze. On the right-hand side, we got Storm Esports, who are trying to close out our first best of 5 of the day in a 3-1 fashion through Battlefield of Eternity. We've got CPX on the Li Ming, Lauber on the Diablo, BBJ on Ana, Kepi on Tychus, and Dequaz on Hogger. I'm very much in the same camp as McIntyre, Grubby. Like, I feel like this could be a 30k game, but Storm Esports has a lot of really nice tools for Battlefield of Eternity, and it feels like a bit of a cop-out to say it's going to come down to execution, but it really is going to come down to execution. Will Dino be able to make those jet propulsion setups for Hazuabs happen? Will there be some great displacement from the Garrosh? I don't know. I feel like that's a lot more it's more on the side of 30k to make some plays, whereas Storm kind of can just play the map in a sense. So I'm going to lean into Storm, but what do you think as we have our initial setup on the map?
I vote for Blaze every time.
Okay.
I think Blaze is really strong right now. I think he didn't see play in every game, and I think that's underplaying him, but he's starting to get played more and more. Dino apparently is not a first-time Blazer, as chat confirms. Of course he wouldn't be, but I'm still surprised to see that coming out in the format. Just starting to think of some synergies, just letting fantasy run wild here, Bahamut. We have Garrosh and Blaze. There's into the fray. He took Wrecking Ball. Are they going to throw in Blaze and then go Combustion?
Oh, please do. This is actually gonna be the second toss on the lobber.
I know how to press your buttons.
No, I'm all for it. I'm like the DIY, you know, leap from. I love the DIY leap setup though. Like it's something that like I've seen Garrosh and Sonya's do in the past, where you basically had a double leap, so you could throw the Sonya in again, and she spears, slams, and finds the fight. So maybe it is absolutely that. You know, you get the toss in combustion. I like it, Grubby.
Still be toss in and then jet propulsion, which is very solid as well. Note that it's a neural stim pack, so it's the most mage-like, which makes sense for Dino since he is the mage. He actually pops Pyromania. Got a bit worried there that it was going to get stunned into a wall. That's minus 40 armor, or at least not plus 40 armor now. Storm has, of course, a very damaging draft. They're extremely aggressive. They have basically... Ana is as much of a damage dealer almost as is possible at range support with how her healing debuff enables damage to stick. And then with Tychus Ming, we have a massive blow-up potential, but there's only a single chance every fight. When Diablo goes in without Medivh support, we saw how much he struggled last weekend. Diablo was played like, what, 9 times or something? And he only won 2, and only the 2 games where he was being supported by a Medivh. So if that curse, that statistic, is being extrapolated here, then Lauber will struggle. They gotta make that blow up the moment they go in, and I think this is gonna be an explosive game, Bahamut.
It's explosive to the point where we have a Master Assassin Tychus. We'll keep you up to date on those stacks. The big thing here from Master Assassin, it's not that you get the 15% increased attack speed, because you don't get that till you finish out the 15 stacks, but the passive increased Tychus' attack speed by 10%, which we've noted from week to week in CCL, it's very beneficial to the Odin. Now, first objective phase is up and available. We're seeing a little bit of a race in favor for 30k, and the same can be said about Storm. So Storm will lose out the first half of this race, and then the Immortals will go to the left and the right side, the Storm or the race potential sides. And unless Storm steps into the enemy side, I feel like 30k wins the race here for some reason.
Yep. Yeah, that's I guess just not the best races by Storm. Ming is alright at poke. Oh, that's a really nice setup there on Blaze. Fantastic job. Actually, I can't believe Dino is surviving there. Got that Pyromania armor, the healing. Lauber now trying to run away. He's gonna get saved as well. Now the turntables again on 30k as double kill on Garrosh and Malthael. This was actually insane with super close calls from both sides.
Could you imagine being Liam just like, oh, they overpowered me, boys, I got this, I'm just gonna press my W, I'm gonna jump around, and I'll easily be able to shut down Lauber, and it's like, wait, no, I'm not the one who's supposed to be dying, and, Yasu?
Nice kill.
Where were you, bud?
He's trying to buy some time, and let's see if it pays off. Not quite, to be honest. 674 in the lead of Storm. This was an amazing, momentous occasion here for Storm, as they managed to bring it back from the brink. I think their Immortal had a quarter of the health of 30k after a few seconds after the halftime show, and they managed to pull out ahead after failing to kill on Blaze, but then with like a massive save on Diablo.
Grubby, I have a big stat for you here. Only
Give
12 more kills are necessary for Tychus to finish up Master Assassin. Hey, we got 3 kills, but seriously, that was 3 kills sub 5 minutes. That's pretty good, still experience-wise, for the side of Storm. Early kills don't yield the most experience, but you still get a little bit of a buff or a jump, as Hogger and Malthy are going to kind of pass each other in the rotations. Jet Propulsion from Blaze is just ever so shy. We like to call that just the Jet Propulsion hello. You don't get the stun.
Yeah, it was super short. Super short off the mark there. We see Dino going into that oil spill build, bigger oil spill, and everyone that stands inside of it, whether it's burning or not, has half attack speed.
Great way to just shut down the Tychus specifically. I think that's just a really good talent for him, because Tychus is a lot of the sustained damage in these fights. Can be a little bursty in a sense too, but CPX, that mage, that Li Ming, that's really where you want to see your connection of abilities land. Temporal Loop onto Lauber. Let's see what happens with this. He's actually has the spell armor, excuse me, the Devil's Due at level 1. Soul Shield, god dang. But he gets that Soul Shield value. You can actually hear it trigger as he finishes out Souls. Will Lauber go down? Big Jet Propulsion, Blaze, or excuse me, Garrosh goes down. Blaze is very low. CPX looking for another reset as Lauber goes in with another Shadow Charge, finds the setup into this Lucio. That is 5 stacks on Master Assassin.
This is really exciting, actually, because we're seeing a side that has not been really seen too much from CPX. CPX has played good in previous matches, and I think this is his third best of 5. But the flexibility that this man is showing today, showing Junkrat, Li Ming, not just Medivh, but also Junkrat, Ming, and Hanzo, not the easiest assassins per se, and he's actually looking good on it. The follow-up is there. He's not dying in any kind of silly fashion, and that definitely isn't always happening, but sometimes chat goes a little hard on him, and he's just kind of shutting down those naysayers. It's a big improvement this week. It's very exciting to see, and if Storm wins this, that will be his first best of 5 victory in CCL Season 2, which is super sick to see. Big saves there by BBJ as well in the fight on Lauber.
I didn't want to cast a Carson, but I had the exact same train of thought, Grubby. I was like, man, CPX is really showing up today. I actually flamed him a little bit in our weekly brief when I was doing the recap.
Blue shocked face.
That oh yeah, wow, crazy. But there was a clip from last week on Tomb of Spider Queen where he kind of played into the enemy team's hands, and it happened a lot in that series last weekend. Up against, excuse me, who did they go up against? I'm blanking on the team off the top. Regardless, Oxygen. And it was one of those moments where I was just like, it happened too much, and here it's like they practiced or they communicated or just the positioning style has changed from CPX. So it's very, very nice to see him in a dominant position for these games and really showcasing that he's like, I'm not a meme. I actually have a nice repertoire of ranged assassins and I have a lot of skills, and it's being showcased here. And I agree with you, Grubby. I gotta compliment the man who's really shown up today for his team in this best of 5 series in week number 7 of Heroes CCL. But 10's up on both sides, 5-0 in kills in favor of Storm Esports. But this is 10 Talontiers. We got a last rights right now, Grubby. Is that going to be a big bursting factor into Lauber? Let's see what happens in the fight.
Ideally, they want to proc his soul shield first and go for the second engage. It's hard to kill on the first one, but this is some massive poke damage coming in from Kepi on X-Ray. We see the Garrosh issue where he's unable to stop on a mostly backline team, and Lauber is threatening against him. There's a shockwave from Blaze. He uses the unstoppable counter engage. Bunker, he's low when he comes out. When he comes out, he's gonna get blown and torn to bits. Liam trying to run for his life, but he can't. It's nano boosted CPX. It's Lauber feeling like he is on a high. They're riding all the way to the top on this mountain, and Storm Esports with 7-0 in takedowns get an 80% shield immortal. Storm looking to start hammering the first nails in this coffin here of the best of 5.
Amazing play right there. Lauber set up into just yoinking yoinking Dino on that Blaze and just setting up this chain CC. And also, on a note, Dequaza utilizing the shockwave to just chain CC this Blaze into place, so he wasn't able to call the bunker, he wasn't able to jet propulsion away, he wasn't able to push any of his buttons. So that does yield this massively shielded Bella through top lane, dealing 642 damage standard, but into structures, this Immortal wails in at 1,284 damage. It's a big power spike into structures, as this is Storm Esports threatening keep front gate sub 10 minutes in, and as always, Grubby, gotta note it, 7 stacks on Master Assassin.
7 stacks on Master Assassin. We're scaling big time here, boys. And it doesn't seem entirely necessary either. They're doing great. That was Soul Shield though on Lauber. He gets popped back. Managed to dodge most of the Chromie shots. There's Nano, there's CPX, there's the Shockwave. Bunker will actually keep people alive, and probably the keep as well.
Good bunker play. Last rights onto CPX. He will go down from that one. Lightning Breath from Lauber comes through. They're trying to play into Liam, but he will be able to get that last rights kill into this Li Ming, and so many 30k members are sitting with a sliver of HP. Oh, Dequaza tried to go for the, what's the name of the grenade talent from... It's a dense
Easy
blasting
throw,
powder.
dynamite, dense blasting powder. Yeah,
Tried to get that spread.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was really close, and a very close save and defense off that keep. 30% life or so on the keep. Nobody died. They got 1 counter kill on CPX with last rights, and 30k is alive for now.
For now, but 30k also will have their level 13s come in, so be even talent tiers in the next engagement. We should actually see our next objective phase in the left-right side of the map. It's going to be in the defensive positions, with Belith on the right side, Alarian on the left, so blue and blue and red. And I don't think we'll see a level 16 gap at that point form. I thought we might have seen a rotation to Liam and top, but he's already backing off to go ahead and grab the siege, or the Fallen Shaman camp for the mid lane or for the bottom lane. God, I can't remember camp names or lanes on this map, Grubby.
Bottom, Khazra, Impaler, the Fallen Shaman are in the center. Those are available but not being looked at yet, as 30k is applying rather quite a lot of pressure in the bot lane. But they disengage, go for the camp as 5, playing it safe here. Really just consolidating their forces, staying in a place and hoping for pickoffs, because 30k is behind, make no mistake. Another thing difficult for 30k is that they are playing into Ana's Smelling Salts. She can hit a double heal that removes stuns from Garrosh or that Blaze tries to inflict, and give 50 armor to the target for 2 seconds. BBJ has been great on Ana so far, and he can really counter Blaze in this fashion. Blaze mostly has his slows to play with, which do empower Chromie's damage. But Chromie, as the only ranged assassin, cannot weaken Storm enough. Oh, that's Soul Shield already. That's kind of good for 30k.
It's got a 45-second cooldown. Diablo is fully stacked on souls. Little fire stomp out onto a Larian. CPX trying to throw some magic missiles as well and poke down the enemy side Immortal. Dequaza showing in bottom lane, clearing things out, and Liam showing in top to do the same. 4v4, and so without Liam, it's a little bit more of a threat from Storm, in my opinion. That last rights is a big terrifying factor. I'm actually going to check real quickly here for everyone at home. 8 seconds on the Soul Shield, so while they did get it procced earlier, it is going to be back for what I assume is going to be our next engagement. Half a level to go in favor of STORM Esports for 16. Not sure if they hold strong, but there's going to be Temporal Loop onto Lauber. Does he go for the Lightning Breath? He's going to get the last rights applied to him. Those go out. There's a Nano Boost onto Li Ming, who's trying to just dump out the damage. Lauber, so very low, gets shredded by the Lucio, actually. Bunker from Blaze does come down, and that was a perfect fight pre-16 for the side of 30k, finding the kill into Diablo, resetting his souls. He's already back into the engagement, but half the Immortal phase will go over to the side of 30k. A nice snap pick onto Lauber, Grubby.
Yeah, exactly, and that took a lot of cooldowns, more so, in fact, than from Storm. He actually fired up his Lightning Breath, but it didn't proc and put it on a 10-second cooldown. Everything was used, and he's back now. He's not as tanky as he was, but the same tools aren't there anymore. They're gonna have to fight. 30k, they're jumping in. There's a big grenade from BBJ.
Amazing grenade, though, from BBJ for healing denial. Kepi with the grenade as well to be able to displace Blaze once again. The double kill into the 2 tanks. And now, with a Lucio, Chromie, and a Malthael left, this is looking like objective phase going over to the hand of STORM Esports with Lauber and BBJ zoning the enemy sides. Chromie will scout things out. A little Fire Stomp to do the same. 28 souls on that Diablo, and 9 stacks out of 15 on Master Assassin. Grubby, we're almost there. We're almost there.
They're 39ing it. The closest thing you can do on Battlefield of Eternity. A small little delay to make sure that the Khazra is going to be joining them as well. But yeah, 9 stacks on Master Assassin. Really, it is just a bonus, of course. We may actually get there, but that would require like 2 more teamfight wins, and that pretty much would be the win of the game as well.
Oh yeah.
It's about the baseline advantage. They know why they're picking it. They want to have that bonus attack speed, which will help on the race as well, and may have been instrumental in winning some of those. That's a big engage on CPX, not old CPX.
Oh my god, the Temporal Loop, the Blinks, the Smelling Salts, the active reload, everything used. The Nano Boost goes out into CPX. Diablo goes down. Souls not to be reset. He's only at 52, but gained quite a bit during this engagement. Belith working his way through bottom, but X-Ray is going to get hit by Hogger, who has the nice Hog Wild, and that's going to be a tank for a tank. Blaze is still up. Commandeer Odin, no big red button since no 20. Keep is being threatened through bottom lane, but this is looking like STORM Esports. They want to play this smart and safe. Jet Propulsion from Blaze will be canceled out by the Wave of Force of CPX. Yasuo trying to monk a steer is a little too far forward from his friendly team, but this is where Yasuo thrives. He's trying to slow, poke. Ooh, that staggering blow could have been the setup right there, but now is there a turn onto Dino from Kepi and crew? No. All right. But bottom lane still at the Impaler camp, so it still finds. I would say bottom and top are about the same HP for these 2 keeps on the side of 30k. Maybe a little bit less on bottom lane.
Yeah, it's 3,900 and 4,200, so it's really close. It's very little HP left, but important that they are still standing. That still gives 30k a standing chance. Just really got to commend CPX there for his recovery. The Wave of Force interrupt on Jet Propulsion to save BBJ and repay him for the deed that BBJ did for him. The active reload, quadruple healing that was affected on CPX after he was in the middle of the team and saved him. That was pretty sick. BBJ is playing absolutely out of his mind. I think Glauber, everyone else doing a great job as well. And yeah, it's just Storm is showing up big time. They're such a strong team. And they're doing great this match.
I'm trying to look at this flank right now, setting up around the Fallen Shaman camp from the side of 30k. I keep checking the vision really quickly between the two sides. And 30k, they weren't showing at all. They didn't actually really get much vision on the enemy side, but it seems like this will just be a split from both teams to grab the Bruiser camp for this next objective phase. Grubby, it's only been 16 minutes. Have we been in comms in this game? I honestly don't remember. And do you want to get into comms?
Not. It'd be great to listen in on Storm's side.
Let's go into Storm comms for this next objective.
Yeah.
Don't go there, don't go there. Get the...
Okay. Nine to the bottom.
It's okay,
No, we can get for it. We can get for it. It's fine. We're just getting a position.
They're gonna look for a fight. They're gonna look for a fight, but the poke isn't that good. I mean, okay, it's good.
I have a sleep on Blaze.
Oh, you get Garrosh? You get Garrosh?
Oh, Garrosh,
Fine.
Yeah, kill Garrosh.
No.
Yeah, Garrosh.
Finish Garrosh. You... Capture slow.
Yeah, I'm hitting Dino now. I'm hitting front line.
Sleep on Blaze. Blaze.
Heal out.
We're getting top keep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
I don't think we get top keep. You might come in time.
We do.
Okay, we do. Yeah, we do.
Make sure we clear bot so we can play second half.
Might have been the caster curse, might have just been a little misplay. The top lane keep does go down, and the members of Storm Esports lose 2, only finding the Garrosh. And it sounded to me, Grubby, a little too much priority into Garrosh, and the latter half of the fight just kind of fell apart or unraveled on the side of Storm Esports.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes like one heal that misses or hits can make a difference as well. I think the call seemed fine. Like Garrosh dropped low, so they wanted to focus on him. Dequaza, once he actually followed up with the shockwave kill, he was in a place where Malthael, I think Liam did a great job to follow him down, make sure that kill stuck, and he couldn't get out. Ana had to save CPX, Li Ming, and he couldn't look at Hager. And yeah, that's just because the fight got so fragmented. And I think Storm honestly is fine with how things have gone. They're actually going to push out bot wave, which represents the option for them backdooring. It also represents the option, realistic or implied, that they're going to go kill bottom keep. 30k responds to this by leaving their Immortal to push alone. And once they see, like, hey, this is just keeping them back, Blaze could have actually stayed top. Maybe to do a bit more push, but they're going to play it safe. They're going to try to actually save this keep. And 30k manages to do this. The jet propulsion was weird, though.
Temporal loop onto Diablo. He pops a lightning breath, so it doesn't get the value. There's going to be a lot of damage to the enemy side. Lobber, I think, actually cancels it early. X-Ray goes down, and that'll be Garrosh down.
He?
So he was in Africa on this map as Lobber gets hit with the last rites. Just all the way into the enemy side, way too deep. That's going to be a reset for Li Ming. Hogger gets away with a couple hundred health. Liam still chasing in, no last rights available. And BBJ with the active reload. Malthael, Liam buys back in. It's still 3v4. Lobber's still rotating
now.
in.
Diablo's
yeah,
back.
he's still kind of rotating in from that death. But now Alarian in the top lane is getting chunked, deals nearly 2,000 damage to structures. But this is Storm Esports looking to threaten core with the small window they have. Alarian will find keep, but it's if you get this kill onto Blaze, this is potentially massive, and they don't find the kill. But Yasu, once again, Omega split from the friendly team. He goes down. That's Master Assassin finished out, Grubby!
Oh, first time in CCL.
Look at that damage! Woo! Look at that damage!
This is incredible. The team that's showing up here, Storm Esports, with a 3-1 victory over 30k. I must imagine. I mean, the Immortal's still going ham. No, it is going to go down. This is going to be the 3-1. It's actually really close. But the Immortal is dead. They're going to get X-Ray one more time. I really wonder what happened on X-Ray down there. He was by himself, didn't use taunt. And they're going to go for the core. That's it. GG. Storm Esports 3-1 victory.
Oh, God, I got it. McIntyre, I know it's on us, but McIntyre, I got to get you back into this already. What are your thoughts on that game? Because it was crazy.
Master Assassin. It's a winning talent. I mean, how can we argue with the results put up here from Storm, right? You finish the quest, you win the game. As we saw, that's exactly what Storm did. I mean, what a crazy game, honestly. We had considered, was this Blaze melee assassin enough damage? And I think 30K really showcased that it was. There were times when that Diablo looked like he couldn't be taken out, right? I think there was a bottom fight around 9-10. Diablo barely survives those on the hills coming in from downtown, keeping him up. But, time and time again, Blaze charge into that garage. Into the last rites was usually enough to take out the Diablo in a team fight and honestly keep 30K fighting, right? Keep them in the game. It wasn't until that very last play, I would say, where Storm was able to break out. It's a pretty heads-up play. It's a very risky play, to be honest. As we saw, Storm's core got very low. And I think a lot of it was given to them the fact that 30K decided that they wanted to fight. It was a 19-20 fight. We saw Blaze kind of charge forward, and Grubby even was a bit surprised by where X-Ray was positioned because of the fight. Why are we taking that fight there so far off from our keep? We want to defend it, but probably defended a little too far past their protection at that 19-20. Capitalized on by Storm, though, able to find that pick onto the garage, onto the Mathiel, and just continue to push forward, right? Had they have lost a few more of their team members, though, there is a world where 30K runs it down top and counter cores back, but really well timed, really well executed by them. I think the composition, as you said, CPX played a very good Li Ming. There was a moment where he did have a nice wave of force to save. I believe it was the Ana from a Blaze charge. Without it, though, Ana definitely would have gone down. So I think overall, really well played from Storm. A good fight back from 30K, though, introducing, like I said, that Blaze main tank, right? We saw X-Ray on a lot of different tanks today. Not his usual. We saw the ETC, we saw the Garage. Not just Diablo, a noob every other game. So really well played for both teams. Storm, though, taking that 3-1.
Storm took a 3-1 up against the members of 30K, and we are getting our interview set up right now. We've actually got Kepi coming in, and I believe we're going to have a little bit of help from Jay from Simplicity for a little translation. So, my friend Kepi, can you hear us? Oh, maybe not?
Oh, hello.
Hello, Kepi. Congratulations on your victory. How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel very good now.
Okay, it's very simply put. I'm gonna throw this over to Grubby for a question or two to you.
Hey, Kepi, congratulations. In this best of 5, not only did you guys win with a 3-1 score, but I believe it's also first victory for CPX in your team. CPX played very good today. Do you have any idea how he was able to improve for this match? Not that he wasn't good the other days, but like he was extra good today.
일단은 이제 저희 오늘 경기 전에 웜업을 하면서 이제 아이비 팅즈 선수가 이제 인터넷 문제 때문에 CPX 선수하고 이제 같이 웜업을 했는데 이게 생각대로 잘 안 풀려가지고 사실 걱정을 많이 했어요, 이게. 그러니까 연습을 이제 항상 아이비 선수와 해왔는데 이제 갑자기 다른 멤버랑 하려니 이제 어떻게 드래프트를 해야 되는지도 잘 모르겠고 어떻게 해줘야 되는지도 잘 모르겠고 그랬는데 아마 제가 CPX 선수를 조금 과소평가한 부분이 있는 것 같아요. 이게 메디브, 트레이서 이런 거 위주로만 줘야 그래도 이길 수 있겠지 생각했는데 그냥 믿어보고 이제 다 생각나는 대로 이제 했는데 이제 맞춰진 대로 잘 해줘가지고 그래서 이제 이길 수 있었던 것 같습니다. CPX 선수가 오늘 캐리했다고 봅니다, 저는. 네.
So, Cappy actually worried a lot about like today's match because they were practicing with the IB all the time, and then CPX didn't get to practice with them pretty much. But so Cappy was kind of worried about like CPX not being able to like follow what he drafts, but surprisingly he played really well. Like Cappy really likes CPX Tracer and Medivh, but he wasn't like expecting him to play this well in like on the new draft. So in Cappy's opinion, CPX definitely carried today's game.
It definitely
That's,
seemed that way. As
That's awesome.
yeah.
Just second one, the drafts you guys had today were really good. You also had 2 new changes, the patch and the fact that you didn't practice with CPX. How difficult did that make it for you to draft in this match? New player, new balance patch.
그 혹시 이번 최근에 그 패치했잖아요.
네.
그게 CPX랑 연습을 많이 안 한 것을 포함해가지고 그
네.
뱀픽하는데 어떤 영향을 끼쳤는지.
일단은 이제 요한나 루시우, 특히 루시우가 크죠. 그리고 말퓨리온 그 20평은 그것도 크고, 저희는 그게 다시 이제 벤에서 풀린 게 저희한테는 굉장히 좋은 소식이었고요. 그리고 예, 제가 CPX 선수를 이미 이제 폭풍 리그에서 만나본 경험으로만 너무 좀 판단을 한 것 같기도 하고, 되게 이게 CPX 선수도 사실 힘든 입장이거든요. 연습 같이 안 해본 이제 입장인데 너무 잘해줘가지고 또 고맙고, 네, 그리고 밸런스 패치는 저희한테 이득이라고 봅니다. 저희 BBJ 선수와 또 루시우 굉장히 잘하기 때문에 루시우 풀린 것도 크고, 말퓨리온도 항상 생각하고 있고요. 말퓨리온 평온 20년 풀린 것도 저희한테 이득이라고 생각하고, 네, 요한나는 아직 안 해봤는데, 요한나도 괜찮을 것 같고, 네, 레이너도 제가 자신 있어서 레이너도 되게 다시 복소돼서 네, 좋습니다. 그러니까 밸런스 패치된 거는 저희 팀한테는 굉장히 큰 이득인 것 같아요. 네.
So the patch-wise is actually beneficial for the Storm because their hero pools are really like favored towards like this patch. Like for example, like Lucio, it says BBJ is really known for good Lucio, and also like Rainer cannot get back into the meta. I haven't tried the Joanna yet, but it should be pretty good into their style as well. So patch-wise, he thinks like it's really good for Storms, and then like since the playoff like kinda plays off in this kind of patch, like it will be like make the team much stronger in the playoff as well. And then also like haven't really got much practice with CPS, but he was playing with the CPS a lot in the Storm League. Like especially recently, like he wasn't really impressed in the Storm League, however, but the CPS definitely outperformed today's match. So I think KP wants to thank the CPX again for like playing so well today.
That's very, very good. McIntyre, any quick question for Kepi here as we're rounding out our interview?
Yeah. So I was an old teammate of BBJ, Kepi. Is BBJ OP or does he need more coaching?
So 그 맥기타이어 저희 캐스팅하는 분이 BBJ 옛날 그 팀원이거든요. 한 2016년인가 그때.
알아요. 히어로자스.
네. 그 BBJ가 더 코칭을 해야 되는지 아니면 BBJ가 1티어인지.
BBJ 선수 이제 같이 플레이하고 있으면은 되게 자세한 것까지 이제 커뮤니케이션 해주면서 되게 좀 편안하게 해주는 힐러라고 생각하고요. 뭐 개인적으로 연습은 또 잘하고 있는 선수니까 네, 저는 만족합니다. 되게 만족합니다.
So BBJ is like very considerate player who explains a lot of things like in the communication. So he's really strong in that department, and he's always practicing a lot and always scaling. So he's just very satisfied with him.
Well, it's very nice. Thank you so much for the insight. Kepi, before you leave us, are there any shoutouts that you'd like to give? The floor is all yours, my friend.
누구 그 칭찬해주고 싶은 플레이어나 그 감사하다고 할 사람 있는지.
네. 일단 스톰 관계자 여러분 이제 편안하게 게임 집중할 수 있게 이제 외부적인 요소들 다 처리해줘서 너무 고맙고, 네, 저희 팀원들도 너무 고맙고, 이제 소통하는데 이제 제가 혼자 다른 지역에서 왔으니까 이제 이제 다른 선수들이 저를 좀 많이 맞춰줘야 되잖아요. 그래서 걱정도 많이 했고 했는데 잘 믿고 따라와줘서 또 고맙고 저도 저희 팀원들 믿어서 네 좋은 결과 기대해 볼 수 있을 것 같습니다.
So he wants to first of all thank the Storm, the front desk. They allow
Organization.
him, organization, so he can focus on the game a lot. Although like he has a meeting to like deal with that, and also he really wants to thank his teammates because they all come from kind of different cultural background from him, but they just follow his like draft or like calls and trust him. So with this kind of synergy like keeps improving, he thinks like that his team can definitely do well in the playoff, and then people should expect a lot from the Storm.
Well, it's very exciting. Thank you so much for joining us for the interview. And Jay, thank you so much for joining as well to help translate for Kepi. You all have a wonderful afternoon. Congratulations on your victory. And we'll see you next weekend for more Heroes of CCL play. Oh, well, they've just left us. I looked over. They left. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, all right. That's it for that one. But we're not done just yet, ladies and gentlemen. That was our first best of five of the day, excuse me. We have one more coming up for you. It's going to be Diamond Hands versus Oxygen Esports. We're going to take a short little break, though. And in that break, I encourage you to hang out and check out this wonderful interview with Kyle Ferguson and Got Filth. Also, really quick, during this break, we encourage you to hit ! PSD to get yourself over to the Wisdom curated page of wonderful underwear. We thank PSD for joining us for Heroes CCL as our sponsor. And if you like any of that underwear, or you'd like to get yourself a nice comfy pair of underwear, you can use Wisdom at checkout for 20% off your order. Thank you everyone for watching Heroes CCL. We'll be back in just a few minutes with that Oxygen Esports versus Diamond Hands matchup. Don't go anywhere. We got exciting Here's the Storm action on the way.